Did you hear about McDonald's new McDLT?
It could be the best tasting lettuce and tomato hamburger ever.
Cause the hot stays hot
And the cool stays cool.
You get a quarter pound of beef on the hot side. And the hot stays hot, baby.
This lettuce and tomato on the cuckoo side. And the cool stays cool. LT.
The beef stays hot. The cool stays crisp. It's the hottest taste. The coolest dish you can't resist. It's a good time. Hot baby McD.
Full of great taste. Cool crisp LT.
McDonald's McD. LT.
There are some special things in this world that only a handful of people can appreciate. Now, maybe you're not one of these people. But if you are, spend some time getting to know Mazda's new RX-7. But I'll warn you, it'll flat spoil you for anything else.
Introducing Mazda's new generation RX-7. Its engine has the smoothest system, and no one offers all this at this price.
It's pretty special, like you and me.
NBC Sunday Night at the Movies will return following these messages.
Monday, a world movie premiere. Lindsay Wagner, the adopted mother. Nancy McKeon, the natural mother.
Tracy's mother wants to take her back.
This child is my Monday.
Hi, this is Madonna and a Virgin, inviting you to watch this Saturday when I host the season premiere of Saturday Night Live. It's gonna be hot.
Oh, that was great.
Take off and play the Burger King $14 million winning taste game, where you can win $1,000 a month for the rest of your life, or any of 19 million fabulous food and cash prizes. Win a flame-broiled Whopper, a flaky croissant sandwich, a Pepsi. The odds of winning a prize are a fantastic 1 in 7. Play the winning taste game, where the world of the potentially rich and famous awaits you at Burger King now.
Did we win again?
Vote for Quincy as he takes on the politicians next week.
Chris Lloyd never had much in common with his father.
Missing?
What are you talking about?
How come she hasn't contacted us? She can't, Chris. She's been kidnapped.
Until they shared an adventure. He never dreamed.
Why do I want to see that?
Gene Hackman.
There's a possibility you may want my life for your mom's.
Matt Dillon.
I'll probably never see you again.
Target. Rated R. Starts Friday, November 8th at a theater near you.
You can
Never even heard of that.
frozen beef, or you can choose fresh ground beef. Choose fresh. Choose Wendy's. You can choose a hamburger warmed over under heat lamps. Or you can choose a hamburger served fresh, hot off the grill. Choose fresh. Choose Wendy's.
Only Wendy's makes breakfast like we do.
Fresh made to order breakfast for the one and only you.
Second class phones, they're making second class phones. Phones you can't hear through, phones with no tone.
Lots of people with telephones not made by AT&T are reporting some kind of complaint. When was the last time you had a complaint with an AT&T phone? If you've had it with second-class phones, buy an AT&T phone now and get up to $20 in free AT&T long-distance calling.
There's a new truck on the road. It's called Comanche. It's built by Jeep. It's worth a look.
Get 8.8 on 1986 Jeep Comanches, Cherokees, and Wagoneers.
NBC Sunday Night at the Movies will return following these messages.
When AIDS hits home,
AIDS is that disease.
what does a family do? A world movie premiere you can't miss. An Early Frost, November 11th.
This is Newswatch 8 Update, brought to you by Amco Transmission.
Good evening. I'm Dennis Roper. That outbreak of red tide near Sarasota has been pushed northward by southerly winds. Beachgoers along the Pinellas Suncoast today reported eye and throat irritation, and fish kills have been reported at several Pinellas beaches. The first annual St. Petersburg Grand Prix is over. Promoters are still tallying the figures. Tonight, we'll tell you how they feel about bringing the race back next year. Now this.
When you're saving lives, you can't let your transmission die. That's why many ambulance boots go where it's better than fixed. It's AMCO.
Are jobs quietly disappearing in one part of North Tampa? We'll tell you about that and tell you why. We'll have that story plus Rick Mellum's forecast that calls for some cool fall weather here in the Bay Area for a change. That coming up at Newswatch 8:11, and also stay tuned after Newswatch 8 for all the latest in the Bucks and the race on Sports Extra.
You're looking at the makings of a delicious idea. You're looking at new Bacardi tropical fruit mixers. They're made with luscious blends of tropical fruits, then fresh frozen to keep their natural flavor. So you'll find Bacardi mixers in your grocer's freezer. You'll find them easy to prepare too, which means you won't spend your time making drinks. You'll spend it making friends. Bacardi mixers, perfectly simple, simply perfect.
My Harry, he used to start the day showering with ordinary soap, but by the time the day was over, he had a problem. People noticed, and one day he noticed.
Oh, no.
That's when I found out about Shield deodorant soap. Unlike ordinary soap, Shield keeps you smelling fresh and clean all day long.
Yo, that's Bryan Cranston.
Shield works.
Yo, that's Breaking Bad.
So what do you think about this Sunbird, Mom?
It's so red,
Yeah, and it's got front-wheel drive.
but it's so sporty.
Oh, come on, Mom. You're still young.
Ah, well, come on. Let's see what else they have.
Hey, that's my mom. Oh, wow, you got the Sunbird.
What do you think?
I think it's you, Mom.
You really think so?
Well, actually, it's more me.
Oh, will you stop? Get in here.
We feel the excitement of Pontiac.
Things sweetened with 100% NutraSweet display the 100% NutraSweet symbol. A little red swirl next to the words NutraSweet brand sweetener. The 100% symbol means low calorie without saccharin and great taste without any sugar added. 100% NutraSweet. Why some things taste better than others.
Obliter mean softness.
John Farneston. Time.
What?
It's time, John. What about my family? You know that humongous mortgage on your house? With Transamerica Life, it can be paid. It's paid?
And your son's college?
It's paid? It's time.
Okay, I'm ready to go.
No, not that time. Your premium is due.
Transamerica Life Insurance. The power of the pyramid is working for you.
Tuesday, the A-Team rocks out with Isaac Hayes and Rick James.
What it is. It's rock and roll.
And Rock'em Sock'em Action. Tuesday.
Tuesday, a special Amazing Stories. Gregory Hines is a psychic in touch with a nightmare, with a murder only in his mind. And on a special Hitchcock,
I have something for you.
she's out to give a crank caller a cool welcome. Then when the Riptide guys sell out to a corporation,
Think again, boys.
it's a special lineup that'll bowl you over Tuesday.
This bud's for all that you do. You keep America going. You keep the juices flowing. You are the muscle, the hope and the hustle. You keep the country growing and you make America working. This bud's for you.
Here's to you, Beechwood Age, for that clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
This bud's for you.
Welcome, everyone. I hope everybody's having a great week so far. I know it's early in the week. I just totally repeated myself because I realized that my mic was muted. Anyway, yo, you guys are amazing. Really glad to see every one of you all. So yeah, old Dolly went and got himself arrested again. We're not going to talk too much about that. There's more important things that I want to cover on this channel. But so let me take a look here real quick. Definitely, there's definitely some posts. There's definitely some posts where they show Dolly's charges, which was failure to appear in court. I mean, everybody was posting in the community, but the thing is I think he's out because I think he's out simply because he's got a live scheduled in an hour, or a little less than an hour. But the charge that he failed to appear was from October 17th. And what it looks like is the assault charge when he was in Savannah with Betty the Strangler. So what I find interesting about that is the way I understand it is he got a bunch of super chats for his bail, but he didn't have to put up bail. And I think MGL was supposed to like pony up the money for him. And what ended up happening was some bail bonds person or something to that effect showed up or offered to go ahead and bail him out for free without having to pay for their services. But if I had to guess, he didn't show up for court, and that bail bonds person they're like, nope, your ass is going to court, and they went and scooped him up and took his ass to jail. But as to why he would be out, no idea. Maybe the charges just didn't simply stick. Maybe they just didn't feel it was worth pursuing. Who knows? I have no idea. But it goes to say that, I mean, look at this shit, dude. Look at these people and their behavior, and yet people somehow take them seriously and want their insight on crime cases, which makes no sense. In kind of in theory, slightly. In some sort of theory, I could see somebody who's been to court 100 times, but even like we look at Betty, who's been to court 42 times at least. We look at Betty and she doesn't have the slightest idea of how court works, which is really funny since she claims to be a paralegal and she's not a paralegal, because we've had attorneys in this chat. And one of those attorneys was actually on panel with as a guest with Burnt Toast one time, and she basically said there's just no way that Betty could be a paralegal. There's just no way. But I just don't understand. Like, well, yeah, that's a good point. But I mean, no, I mean, because if I'm that bail bonds person, I'm just going to be like, yeah, okay, sure. If that person happens to be a supporter of his channel, I'm going to be like, yeah, all right. But if your ass doesn't show up to court, you better believe I'm fucking Dog the Bounty Huntering your ass with a fucking big old can of mace if I have to, and I'm slapping cuffs on you myself and dragging your ass to jail myself. We're gonna explore mostly. We're gonna go into some of the updates. It's in the description as well. I just didn't want to add to the thumbnail these victims and whatnot in the thumbnail, and the likes of Dolly's dumbass in the thumbnail. So, but it's in the description, and we're going to go over some of the updates. I know yesterday there was a lot of activity regarding News Nation and the little specials that they were doing. There's stuff. I have opinions on that. I just wanted to take a break yesterday. That's why I didn't go live yesterday. I just wanted a little break for myself and just relax, veg out, watch Oz, chill. And I'm glad I did because I really enjoyed it, and I'm still enjoying it. It's a great show. A lot of holes in the story, but you know, it's just fun. It's just a fun. It's guilty pleasure. So, but and I would stream his live, but we know that it's going to be a bunch of lies. You know, like that's what he does. Dolly's just a big fucking liar, and he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. And he lies to talk like he knows what he's talking about, which is what all these grifting assholes do. And B, I wasn't there. I don't know exactly what happened. You know what I mean? So, you know, how am I going to contradict his lies with the truth? So I'm not going to be unfair and just sit up there and call him a liar, you know, as he's lying, but I know that he is a liar. So I'm just not even going to bother listening. Truth is, I don't really care why he's not in jail. If, like I said, if the court system doesn't feel like it's worth keeping him locked up, then whatever. It's not my problem. I don't live near him. I don't have kids that live near him or his brother, so I'm really not that worried about it. Do I think that his brother should be in jail? Absolutely. But you know, and do I think Dolly should pay for what he did? Absolutely. But I mean, at the end of the day, what good is it going to be to me to sit there and worry about it and get, you know, pissed off at the system and blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to do all that. I'm not putting myself through that. But I'm going to go through, I'm real quick. I'm going to, let me look this up real quick. Actually, let me just do this. So something that really bothers me here. So Michael Monkey Vaughn, is a case of a missing child where the neighbor is currently in jail, and the authorities believe that that child is deceased, no longer with us, and okay, thank you, Heels in the Air. Failure to appear. Two of them were not from Georgia. So this guy just doesn't like to go to court. Okay. But as far as Michael Monkey Vaughn, I feel really bad because Michael's mother, Brandy, has been very vocal about making sure that these people don't show up to her town and start causing a ruckus and making a bunch of unnecessary noise and disrespecting her child's memory. And you know, we saw while Betty was in Idaho, she was interviewed by somebody. I don't know if it was a major news source. It didn't seem like it. It just seemed like it was just probably another YouTuber for all I know. And interviewed her, and she was filming, and you can faintly hear her say that she was friends with Brandy, which is just not true because she made a video that I went over when it happened, basically saying don't come here. Specifically targeting the YouTubers that show up and cause a ruckus and heckle and yell and scream and harass people. And Betty's making this weird attempt to be legit, and she just sucks at it, and it's just really funny to watch. And we're gonna go over some of her stuff too, but I want to share this regarding another YouTuber that these people have decided to associate themselves with. That's part of that little circle now. And this is the kind of respect these people show victims. I retweeted this, and Brandy said to this YouTuber, and I don't even want to give that YouTuber any clout, because all she does is just grift and e-beg. That's her entire content. And, you know, just listen. And Brandy obviously is disgusted by this creator. And I retweeted this from Blank Screen. And it says, Mallory, I am respectfully asking you to take Michael's name out of your hashtags. Not once did you share our beautiful son's face. Honestly, I'm quite disappointed. Please kindly remove Michael's name from this live. Thank you. And the response was absolutely disgusting, which I can't seem to find now. But Mallory's response was just gross. And now I can't find it. Give me 1 second here. I know a few people posted it. So I'll just go to, I think Savage did. So I'll just go to Savage's and see if I can find it here. But now I'm not seeing it. I don't have my shit together today, folks. Yeah, just a bunch of stuff about Dolly, it looks like. Okay, wait a second. I think I found... Okay, here we go. So this was Mallory's response to Brandy's very respectful request. Very respectful request to remove, to just simply stop tagging Michael's name in her videos, because she doesn't share any information on the case. She doesn't do any type of coverage. She makes jokes only out of victims and their families, basically, and that's all they do. And here's the response from Mallory. And it says, although you may have less appreciation for the House of Williams platform, Jesus, and the audience that I have accumulated over the years, it is the audience that I bring to the table nonetheless. Wow. And true, I may not always resort to showing the faces of small children on my videos. Now, you hear that right there? We're talking about a missing child. She's trying to come off as if showing the face of a missing child is somehow going low. It's somehow disgusting. It's somehow bad. No. Anybody who shares the face and description of a missing child is doing their due diligence as a mere community member and citizen. The idea is to get that child's face out there in case you have any information. It's just unbelievable that this person has the audacity to sit there and make this about themselves when the mother of a missing child who police have presumed deceased, and yet they still have not found his body. So right now, I can only imagine the torture that this poor mother is going through. I can't even begin to imagine it. So to hear this is disgusting. I'm not even halfway through it. So she says, I may not always resort to showing the faces of small children on my videos like it's a jab, as I rely a lot on my storytelling skills, which she doesn't tell stories. She's just full of shit. And ability to paint verbal pictures in the minds of my audience. Using such tactics is how I, in my own particular style, engage with my audience. Like, nobody gives a fuck about your channel in this instance. Nobody needs you to advertise what you do on your fucking channel. Like, you're going to pick up a new fan? Is like, what do you think you're doing here? I have a particular way of expressing myself. Uncreatively and stupidly. Not unlike so many other channels on this platform, utilizing Michael's name in their content as a hashtag. Right. And the only people that do, let me explain that. The only people that do are either people who are actually going over the facts of the case and trying to spread information and trying to spread the word to keep people aware that there is a missing child out there and what to look for. Those people, A. B, the other types of people that do that are shitty, fucked up, grifting YouTubers who do nothing but exploit victims, such as this person right here. That's when it's not okay to tag victims' names. I believe at the end of the day, she goes on to say, it is the furthering of awareness that takes precedence before all else. Okay, so why aren't you doing your part to spread awareness? Just tagging the kid's name to get people who care about this child to come watch your bullshit is not spreading awareness or furthering awareness. It's not doing that at all. So although I absolutely appreciate you reaching out to me, which I believe is the first time, I must respectfully decline your request, meaning the request to simply stop tagging her missing son's name and exploiting it for her own gain. Simple request. And then she goes on, I wish you the warmest regards in this incredibly difficult time in your family's life. You lying piece of shit. That is beyond reprehensible. I mean, they're not even trying to act like they're respectful at all. Just like, yo, I could see doing it almost. It's still shitty because these people still do this, but I could see tagging a kid's name and then not doing shit to further awareness, as Mallory put it. I could see doing that, and then once the parent reaches out to them, which almost never happens, but that parent reaches out to them and respectfully asks, please, can you not do that? For the sake of respect for my child and their memory, can you not do that? And then to say, fuck you, no, I'm going to do it anyway, like as if they have some sort of rights over that child and using their name over the parent. I mean, even some of the shittiest YouTubers, I would think if the parent reached out to them, they would be like, you know what? Shit. I didn't think of it like that. You know, maybe I don't need to tag this kid's name. You know, I'll tag other people's names. Kids that their parents haven't reached out to me. You know what I mean? Like the most minimal compromise. And this piece of shit Mallory is not even remotely capable of it, which makes perfect sense why the likes of that piece of shit would be running around with the likes of pieces of shit like Betty and pieces of shit like Dolly and pieces of shit like MGL. because they're all the same. Pieces of shit like Jaundice for All, pieces of shit like JLR, all of them. Like it's no wonder that all of them have found each other and decide to run around and run amok all over YouTube and all over these towns where people are trying to peacefully reside when these horrible things are happening in their community. Now, which this sort of leads me into this thing, and I forgot to put it in my description, but I'm gonna make sure to publicly credit News Nation, because I don't want to end up like Jay is for Justice. So this is obviously News Nation's content, but under fair use, I'm going to share it. But it is their content, and all credit goes to them for this. But I'm going to go ahead and share this. And I think it's interesting that, sorry, I got to put my earbuds in. I think it's interesting that they, hold on. It ended up playing. There we go. Now, they were very, very kind in discussing YouTubers because at least they acknowledged the good that being a YouTuber can do. But there's a couple of little gripes that I have, very small gripes with what they did here. But I'm glad that they didn't acknowledge, they didn't acknowledge, because of course, you know, Betty and Brian are like this. They're tight, aren't they? But sorry, Betty, no public acknowledgement for you. But yeah, we're gonna go over this real quick.
Up next, Xana's mom breaks her silence for the first time.
We need more answers.
And internet sleuths are on the case.
And this is my theory on like multiple parts of the case, okay?
But when does it help the investigation, and when does it go too far? I'm Brian Enton, live in Moscow, Idaho tonight. The murder mystery has reignited the murder here. The online sleuthing community who gained notoriety during the search for Gabby Petito in 2021. We are talking about the armchair detectives, people who sift through social media looking for any possible clue. And in the vacuum of information from Moscow police, their voices are loud.
Now that's interesting right there. I want to acknowledge that statement right there, where he's talking about internet sleuths that just sift through information looking for a clue. I think one of the reasons why he did not give Betty or any channels like hers a nod in that sense is because that she doesn't do that. What she does is just spread misinformation constantly. She doesn't do any homework on these cases. She doesn't look for any updates. She calls herself press, but can't even acknowledge when there is a press release that comes almost daily from the Moscow Police Department. It's shocking to me. It's it's just mind-blowing. But this dude right here, you know, he made a specific description of some of these channels, and Betty doesn't fall under these channels, neither does Dolly, neither do any of these idiots, because they don't sift through information and clues.
Louder than ever. Here's News Nation's Ashley Banfield.
What we know is that 6 missed calls were made from Kaylee to Jack's phone, her ex-boyfriend.
From the start, amateur investigators shared their theories on the Moscow, Idaho quadruple murders. The case has gripped the nation. People are craving as much information as possible, trying to put the pieces together themselves.
I'm going to talk about the slayings in Moscow, Idaho.
I'm wondering if it was a friend, not one of the roommates.
This is just as pretty much everybody talking about this case, pure speculation.
partly fueled by a lack of information from the police.
Everybody has an opinion and they want to come out and say it. And so what that does is that detracts from the public's ability to trust the information that's out there.
Police have always had to work around rumors. They sift through leads, discarding the hoaxes and the hearsay to try to get to the credible tips. But the sheer volume of tips in this case could take a toll on police resources. But they could also crack the case. Nearly 500 digital media tips have come in to an FBI page dedicated to the case. The Moscow police are on rumor control, both on their website and during their news conferences. Often, the rumors get started on social media.
Okay, I have no qualifications to be speaking on the Idaho murders other than the fact that I just have been keeping up with them. And this is my theory on multiple parts of the case, okay?
Social media sites seizing the moment, setting algorithms to gain traction on the Idaho case. TikTok posts with the hashtag Idaho Murders have more than 90 million views. Reddit forums with 27,000 members, and private Facebook groups, each with tens of thousands of people, are all talking about the Idaho murders and are ripe with wild speculation, many delving into Kaylee, Xana, Madison, and Ethan's own social media accounts. But these
see, that's the stuff that I just won't do. I know that there's decent channels out there that do that. But they don't necessarily go public with all of the stuff. You know, they actually have some respect for some of the privacy. Like, I understand trying to understand these things. But you do the shit in private. You know what I mean? Like right now there's this, I'm going to get into that later, but, it's just so annoying. Like, it's just a simple sense of boundaries. You know, you can speculate, and you can, because I do it all the time. I speculate all the time. I just don't do it here. You know what I mean? I do it behind the scenes with people that I talk to, that are friends, that are fellow YouTubers. I do that all the time, but I don't blast the shit on my channel like I'm some sort of investigative genius, because I'm not. I understand that I'm not a journalist, and I understand I'm not an investigator. I know my role. I know my place. So I know what's okay to talk about and what isn't, because I have scruples and a sense of boundaries.
These crowdsourced investigations can also ruin lives as they track down so-called suspects on their own. First, it was the young man in the hoodie seen at the food truck in a video that surfaced days after the murders. Police were flooded with questions about who he was.
Now, there's this dude on TikTok, man. I don't know who he is. I think Ikadmel talked about him, but what bothers me about that, because now everybody's spinning this shit all over again. Everybody wants to talk about the hoodie guy again. Now the hoodie guy's a thing all over again, because the parents are like, well, they cleared him too fast and blah, blah, blah. I'm actually going to get more in depth about that and into that. But the problem with the hoodie guy, that people aren't okay. All that stuff that's coming out now, I already knew about. I was talking about it with other YouTubers behind the scenes. And the problem with that is they're claiming that he's this one particular guy who got kicked out of his fraternity for having a temper. And then there's all these other things too. But the problem with that is this video is way too grainy to say that that's even him. That's my issue with that. So again, people are pointing fingers at this dude who likes to hunt. Big shocker, being a resident in Idaho, but likes to hunt. And then all of a sudden, because he may own a large serrated knife, that he must be guilty because he kind of looks like the guy in the hoodie in the video. I mean, this is the irresponsible shit that I'm talking about, man.
I think a lot of people were curious about that person. We were able to identify him
Police have since cleared that man, but online sleuths soon turned their attention to a new suspect, a neighbor of the victims named Jeremy Reagan. He's a third-year law student at the University of Idaho and gave a TV interview about the comings and goings at the house where the kids were murdered. He admits that he'd given a nervous smile while talking about the crime. Some viewers took issue and made him a target.
Everyone always does that. That's the most annoying shit in the world because everybody's a body language expert, right, folks? Everybody's a body language expert, apparently. And the thing about that, I was speaking to my mom, who actually has numerous mental health professional degrees, and she was saying, I was talking to her about this, and she was saying that that's not even an exact science. Like, there's no way to determine someone's guilt by reading their body language. There's just no way to do that. So it's just interesting to me that everybody thinks that they're a body language expert, and really, you know, it's not even an exact science. Phrenology is more of an exact science and is not an exact science than that is. Which, if you don't know what phrenology is someone who studies the bumps on someone's head. So it's not even an exact thing.
Soon he moved from target to suspect, and it was open season on the internet.
People online have just been ruthless. They went through and gone through all of my social media history over the past decade, partly because of all the reports that the people had sent in about me and the interview I did.
Reagan has spoken with the police and even volunteered his DNA. But when he didn't hear back from the officers, he simply went to the station himself and gave police a sample. But as amateur investigators continue to dig deep into his personal life, contacting his friends and his family, Jeremy is now so concerned that he carries a pistol for protection. Amateur detectives have had some success before. During the Gabby Petito case, social media hashtags exploded with billions of views. It was social media users that put many of the pieces together and gave police strong clues.
See, that's not even true to my understanding. To my understanding, it was just simply a YouTuber who happened to be editing, that was on vacation and filming their trip, and you know, they were just living that RV life and they were filming their trip. And then when they got home, they started editing their video and then noticed the van in the video. Was that justice? Thank you so much. Anyone remember what happened to Richard Jewell? These YouTubers are affecting lives. It's sick. Yes, Richard Jewell was blamed for the Atlanta, the Olympics show bombing. I mean, and like they railroaded the fuck out of this guy. And he was totally innocent. Absolutely totally innocent. Nice, quiet, chill guy that was just a security guard and trying to do his thing as a security guard. Yeah, that's a great example. Thank you for bringing that up. Was that justice? I really appreciate that.
Clues.
But yeah, as far as I understand, as far as Gabby Petito goes, it was really just a a YouTuber who did some editing and saw that was the van and then reported it to law enforcement, and they didn't want any clout for it, nothing. They were, you know, they did a couple of streams, you know, and people thanked them for what they did, and they helped bring closure. But that's really all. Everyone else just did a bunch of bullshit, like Chronicles of Chlamydia, as people like to call her. She supposedly found Gabby's water bottle, and now she has all of this clout. But I mean, personally, based on her behavior, I have every reason to believe that, or at least I wouldn't put it past that she didn't find that water bottle and just found a water bottle that looked like hers and then said, oh, well, look, I found her water bottle. And I just call bullshit on that.
as to where to look. Back in Moscow, Idaho, with every day that the 4 murders go unsolved, the online investigative community is sure to grow. Each wanting to be the cyber sleuth that unlocks the mystery and solves the crime. But at what cost to the professional investigators and to the public?
See, I have a problem with that last statement from Ashley Banfield. At what cost to the investigators and to the public? And that was it. What about the victims, Ashley Banfield? And I like Ashley Banfield. I just, I have to criticize her leaving that out because I think that's the most important issue. What about the victims? At what cost to the victims and their families? That's the issue. What about, yes, the investigators, sure, but what are the investigators doing this for? The investigators are doing this to bring closure to these families. And so if a case is being directly interfered with, the people who pay most and the people that we need to keep in mind constantly are the victims and their families, period. Yes, I care about law enforcement having the respect that they have, but the only reason that I really care about that is because they're working hard, diligently to get closure for these families and loved ones. So the fact that she left that out, it's I know it's minor, but it's not so minor either. You know what I mean? I would criticize Ashley Banfield for not acknowledging that.
And Ashley Banfield joins me now. Ashley, you have been on this story since the very beginning. You've been doing it every single night on your show. We know with the Gabby Petito case, the online sleuths really had an impact, helped solve what happened. Do you think that could happen in this case?
So the reality is, Brian, that every police officer will tell you when trying to solve a case, there is no detail that is too small. And
and I do agree with that. But the problem with that is that you have a flooding of information, and you have so many people that follow shitty YouTube channels, shitty TikTok creators, people with crazy ass Facebook groups that are just sleuthing, and then they flood up tip lines with this stuff. And the problem with that is law enforcement has to follow up on every single tip, no matter how small, no matter how little credibility it may hold. They have to follow up on it. I'm of the opinion that unless you have real information, you should not be calling that tip line at all. That's my opinion. I know other people may feel differently. Even law enforcement says so. But, I feel like we should use our common sense to decide, is this something, is this just some rumor that I heard? You know what I mean? Differentiate fact from rumor and understand that they have to follow up on every single little thing. And so if they're going one direction, that's the wrong direction. That's time and resources that could be used in going in the right direction and solving this and getting closure for these families.
And they ask the public to bring forth any details, because sometimes that minute detail can be the linchpin that opens up an entire other set of facts. Well, I don't know how many total officers have eyes on this, but, it's upwards of maybe somewhere below 100. And with the online community, they may be able to triangulate some details between photos that may go missed by the detectives on the case. So in one circumstance, it is highly effective to have that many more eyes that could point out something that's critical to the case. But as we just heard, it can also be detrimental, Brian, to Jeremy Reagan and people like him who all of a sudden become targets for attacks. And those attacks can be relentless. I will also say this, Brian, it is not as
and I agree with her on that. You know, we've got to consider these people. You know, you don't have enough evidence. You have things that might make somebody look a little sus, but just because things look a little sus, it doesn't mean that they're guilty of anything. And what you're risking is ruining their lives by going out and spinning and perpetuating a bunch of rumors, unsubstantiated rumors about someone's guilt. I just won't do that. I say it all the time. I'm going to keep saying it. I'd rather be wrong about someone's innocence than be wrong about their guilt. You know, and I hear this shit from these shitty creators. When I confront them about this, I've confronted them in the past about this. And then I say, you know, well, what if you're wrong? What if you're wrong about this person? And look at all, you've got everybody, you've got people calling their jobs. You've got people saying that they're that they're murderers, baby killers, God knows what, you know, and then it's just not worth it for them it's not worth it for the company to keep this person on, because having these random crazy people calling their job about them is affecting productivity, and it's just easier to get rid of them and replace them and bring peace back to the workplace. And it's sad, you know, you can't blame these employers. So it's just sad, you know what I mean, when this happens. And then the excuse that I hear is when I say, well, what if you're wrong, you know, about them? What they end up doing to justify it, they say, well, if I'm wrong, I'll apologize. Well, is an apology going to bring their job back? Is an apology going to put the toothpaste back in the tube that you let out? Is an apology going to bring peace to that person and their families? You know, it's just not fair. You know, people that are just simply guilty by association, and it's not right.
Not as though an online community hasn't had incredible success before. You mentioned Gabby Petito. There was also a serial killer in Canada that the online community found before the police found him, and the police ignored them. So there are some lessons to be learned.
She's referring to Luca Magnotta. That's a crazy ass story, but she's referring to Luca Magnotta. If you guys ever watched the Netflix documentary Don't Fuck with Cats, that's what that's about. Was that justice? Thank you again. Appreciate that. We as consumers have to really reevaluate our constant need to know everything. I had to openly reevaluate how I consume crime content after George Floyd. It had become entertainment for me. And I see, this is the channel for people like you. Was that justice? I'm really glad that you did that, because I had to do that. I had to do that after the Chris Watts case. Or during the Chris Watts case, I had to do that. I got caught up in everything. And I was in Facebook groups. I was even an admin in one of those Facebook groups. And I was just, you know, I mean, even still, I was one of the people going, well, you don't know that Chris Watts is guilty until he pled guilty. But until then, we didn't have any information on the case. We had no credible information. We had a very, very weak police report written, very short, very lazily written police report. And I was like, well, how do you know he's not telling the truth? And people were crucifying this guy. So I was trying to use my power as an admin in that group to try to you know, really tone down the pitchforking that was going on. And, but at the same time, you know, I got caught up in just the craziness of it. I was on Kay's channel a lot, Canceled Karen, when I first started off, and I got caught up in her bullshit. because I justified it as, oh, well, you know, we're just being entertaining and blah, 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 blah. But, you know, in the heat of all that, in the turmoil of all that, you tend to forget that these are real people that are affected. There are families that are just grieving and going through something that I hope nobody else here ever has to go through. Simple Life for Days. Thank you for joining. I appreciate it. So I just, you know, and the Watts case really woke me up. That's what really woke me up. So I understand that. So for Was That Justice, that case for that person was the George Floyd case. And for me, it was the Chris Watts case. And no matter what the case that we discuss, please like reevaluate how you look at this and try to just simply empathize with these families that are dealing with this. And if you truly empathize with these families, then you'll you know, your actions should follow, and how you handle and how you go about and what creators you follow and give money to. You have to just, you know, really just kind of use your eyes, man.
To be learned from that. And there are some things the community can actually help with in terms of investigation.
And you mentioned Jeremy. I saw him on your show the other night. He actually lives right down the way here. I can see his apartment from where I'm standing. You can't help but feel bad for that guy. I heard him on your show say that he actually went to the police station to give up his own DNA just because he wanted to clear his name. All right, Ashley, don't go anywhere, because we are going to talk to you about this breaking news that we talked about at the top of the show, the new revelations that we have confirmed about the conditions of the bodies, what that might mean in terms of who
Was That Justice? Thank you again. Appreciate it. I now only consume wrongfully convicted content, and you. Okay, well, I mean, but there are other good channels out there. Was That Justice? I understand and I get it. I appreciate that. That means a lot to me. It really does. But there are other good channels out there.
who was targeted. We're going to get to that coming up right after this break. We are live from Moscow, Idaho.
Just to name a few, there's Gray Hughes Investigates, who's fantastic. There's Duty Ron. There's 10 to Life. You know, and when there's a case that everyone's talking about, who just I like to say he Forrest Gump's true crime, but calls it real crime. We like to try to refer to it as real crime here too, simply because of what the true crime community has become. But Josh from the Dad Challenge podcast, he always does a great job, and Ikadmel does a great job as well. Chasing Truth does a great job as well. Yes, please, like, if you think of them that I'm not thinking right off the top of my head, yeah, put them in chat, man. Grizzly True Crime is another one. Absolutely.
Tonight.
Still
Burden of
ahead,
Truth
a
as well.
confounding crime scene. How did a killer seemingly go in and out of the house without a trace? And reality is not always what you see on TV.
We call it the CSI effect, that some people think, well, we should be able to do this.
Our exclusive.
Yeah, that's interesting right there. Let me, I'm going to go over something else. Now, this is reluctantly, I'm going to discuss something that I think some of you are probably going to take the wrong way, and I really hope that you don't. But I'm going to say something that I haven't heard anyone else say, and I want to be very, very clear as I explain it. But I want to be very clear that in no way, shape, or form am I attacking a victim's family. I would never, ever do that. But there are certain things that just don't sit very well with me. And I just want to, but I, you know, like I said, I thing is I can't imagine going through what these families are going through. I can't begin to imagine. But we're going to go over we're gonna go over Kaylee Gonzalez. Consalves. I have a hard time pronouncing her last name. But we're gonna go over her parents, one of her parents' interviews. And there's just a couple of things that just don't really sit well with me.
Just so heartbreaking what these families are going through. I had the chance to sit down with the Gonzalez family in Kaylee's home. Their loss, it is so heavy, and they have been vocal about their relentless search for justice and frustrations with the investigation. Here's part one of our conversation.
It's not Gonzalez, no.
You know, she was hurt so bad that she was not able to recover. That is just terrible.
Oh, it's okay.
It's terrible. And I cannot fathom in my head what kind of person did this.
It's capable.
And why. I can't sleep at night. I lay in bed pondering just millions of different scenarios. And just, I want to know, but then there's stuff obviously you don't want to know, you know, but
you just
I think I want to know it all. And
you're okay.
I just don't understand why, how somebody can take somebody, four of them. It wasn't just my girl, just so savagely.
Is anyone acting differently since the murders? I mean, is there anyone that you have a weird feeling about that the girls knew or that comes to mind?
Yeah, I would say not in the immediate circle by any means, but
see, I'm not crazy about that either right there. What Brian Enton just did. I'm not real crazy about that because here he is. Just a minute ago, we just listened to how they were talking about how it was irresponsible to point fingers at anybody because you could be ruining somebody's life, who's innocent, such as this Reagan gentleman. And then now he's setting up this whole thing where, because you have these grieving parents, you don't know what they know. You don't know what they're sharing, what law enforcement sharing with them. And they could just spout out anything. He sets it up to where they could just throw out an accusation at somebody. Now they don't, they act very responsibly here in this sense, but at the same time, it's like, why are you setting them up for that? Why would you do that? I mean, that's just their version of clicks and views as well. So I have to I would be remiss if I did not, add some criticism in his actions right there.
Few of the names that have been circulating around, I think it's hard not to kind of, dig into this. And I don't know how much of that is just because we have so little information from law enforcement and how much of it really is, a sister or a father's intuition.
And see, they have to keep certain things from law enforcement. And I could see that this family, one of their biggest frustrations right now is that law enforcement is keeping things very close to the vest, and including from them, not just the public. And I feel that they feel that they're entitled to more information than the public. And I understand that. And I can't say that I disagree with that. But at the same time, there's probably a really good reason why law enforcement is not doing so. And I mean, these people are doing a lot of interviews. You know what I mean? These people are very, very public. And the thing is it's just this family. It's just Kaylee's family. It's nobody else. It's none of the other families. So my whole thing is we have 3 other victims besides their daughter and sister. Okay? 3 other victims. I mean, is it fair to those other families that they keep going public and they keep complaining about law enforcement? You know what I mean? That's just my slight criticism towards them. I understand that they're going through God knows what. I can't even imagine what they're going through, but I would really, really feel a lot better about this perpetrator being caught if they were less public. But the problem is with that, they also have every right to be heard. I'm not going to sit there and say that they shouldn't be heard. You know what I mean? And then they shouldn't be able to express their feelings publicly either. They have every right to do that. If anybody's earned that right, it's them. But then again, like I said, there are 3 other victims with families that we're not really hearing much from.
Can you elaborate at all? I don't know. You don't have to give a name, but I mean, is it someone that she knew, or?
I have something to say about that. I just feel like there's been a couple individuals that were cleared very fast. That may not, maybe he shouldn't have been. And yeah.
She had the strong alibi.
Just really fast.
If you can dismiss.
An hour later, and we're like, what? And I don't know. I don't know anything about those individuals. I just know they were people that, definitely should have been looked at. And yeah.
I don't know.
See, there's that right there is an implication that law enforcement is not doing their jobs up to their standards. But they don't know, with full respect, with all respect, and I mean this, but even though they are a grieving family and God knows what they're going through, they're not in a professional position to be able to realistically criticize law enforcement and their tactics in this investigation. They're not investigators either. No more than any one of us are qualified to criticize law enforcement and how they're conducting their investigation. We don't know, but they don't either. So who knows why they cleared this person that she's talking about within an hour? It probably only took an hour to clear them, for all we know. Who knows?
What would prevent you from sharing somebody's alibi?
Yeah, I think that's what we're struggling with. So it's like, we know what we know. We've, fought for Jack, Kaylee's boyfriend, and, we still stand that way. So I did just kind of want to clear that up while we're talking through this ambiguity that, that's not what we're honing in on here.
We don't want to make more victims out of innocent people.
Exactly.
We definitely don't want to do that.
You've mentioned before that you didn't want to have a funeral right now because the killer's still out there. Is that something that you're still thinking about? Are you nervous at all? I mean, because in Moscow, we talk to students. People are really nervous there.
They should be.
Yeah.
This targeted to me, it seems behavior based. That's why I don't like it, and it kind of pits the parents against each other. So I don't like that. I just told some of the other parents today that if your daughter has no ill will for me, man. To me, if you go have a couple beers or go out and hang out with your friends and then come home and go to bed, if that's your target, then I think we all do that. I think we all come home and go to our beds.
It's all target.
Yeah. So
it's kind of a bad word then. It doesn't really make sense in some ways.
Exactly.
Even the prosecutor told me that.
Yeah.
He said, I think it was kind of a weird word to choose.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if it makes sense if there was some bad behavior that they did, let's say, I don't know, they came from a strip club or something, and then somebody followed them home. That's a targeted thing. That's what comes. I've had innocent people that were interviewed that were their neighbors, and they said, I'd be a lot more scared if it wasn't targeted.
Yeah.
Because I'm not doing anything to target me. And I'm like, well, if targeting is just going to bed with your friends.
So maybe that was just a way to calm people down?
I feel like it was strategic.
Yeah.
It was a strategic way to keep people from hitting the door, transferring out, and turning that place into a ghost town. So,
you never think you're going to lose your little sister.
Now, again, he worded this correctly, okay? He worded this in a responsible fashion, saying, I feel that that's what it is, okay? But I feel it's responsible for me as a YouTuber, and for me to use the YouTube platform responsibly, to say that, again, just because they are the parents of a victim, it doesn't mean that they know why law enforcement did anything. That one of their biggest complaints is that law enforcement is not sharing enough information with them. So keep that in mind. Because if they're not sharing enough information, they're up here on a YouTube or on a news station basically spitballing, but they're being clear about that. In all fairness, I'm saying that it's up to you, the listener. It's up to you that's following this case to understand the difference. Okay, that's all I'm saying. So please take what they say as far as these things regarding the details of the case with a grain of salt. You know, they're expressing opinions. That's all they're doing is expressing opinions. So it's up to us to know the difference.
Sure.
Yeah.
Ever. You never think you're going to have to bury your daughter.
Absolutely unbelievable. It's nothing compared to the pain that I feel.
Yeah.
Losing Kaylee. And I don't know. It's several things. It's her age. It's how it happened.
It's her life.
Why it happened. Who did this to her?
Just graduated.
Who did this to her and her friends? The fact that she was with her best friend. I mean, since they were little girls.
That family tonight is so heartbroken. I've been in touch with them. It's literally unimaginable to think about what they are going through. But
thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's.
All right. Yeah, I can't imagine what they're going through. Now, the word that I'm hearing is Kaylee's father has hired a private detective, which I would encourage all of the families to do, honestly, and somehow get those private detectives to work in concert with each other. I would encourage that, absolutely. Experienced investigators, even if they're private, experienced investigators to help try to get answers, because this gentleman, respectfully, he believes that the Moscow Police Department are just not experienced enough in a case like this to handle a case like this and get those answers. But at the same time, we can't forget that they also have the help of the FBI. They also have the help of the Idaho State Police. So, you know, I think that they're doing what they can. So I you know, as much as I respect this family, and as much as I feel for them, I don't want to see them create a narrative that law enforcement's not doing their job, because then guess what happens? Then you get these idiots going back to Idaho and then causing a ruckus and trash talking the police department, and then getting people to call them saying that they're not doing their jobs. And you know, that if this law enforcement agency is so inexperienced, what good is it going to do to add distractions to them, to add things that are going to make their job more difficult? You know what I mean? So, like I said, I understand the family's grief and their anguish. I understand all that, but to publicly criticize law enforcement is just irresponsible, in my opinion. It's not going to help them get their answers any quicker. You know, I would encourage them to tone it down, please. You know, right now the best thing for them and Xana's family, Ethan's family, Maddie's family is to support law enforcement and support their efforts, and just try to reach deep down for some patience, and let them conduct their investigation with as little distractions as possible. So that's the only thing that I would kind of criticize them for. But again, you know, it's coming from the most respectful place that I can I can possibly dig deep for, simply because, you know, I don't know what they're going through. None of us understand what they're going through. But from an outside perspective, I would absolutely encourage them to publicly support law enforcement rather than criticize them. And yes, like I said, the dad has claimed that he has hired private investigators, which I perfectly encourage. I think that's great. Sorry, I'm looking at chat a little bit. Yeah, I mean, this is a really, really, really messed up case, man. This is a case where people are, this whole town is turned upside down by this. Also, I just really hope, I mean, maybe that's true. Maybe law enforcement said this targeted thing and used the word targeted incorrectly. Maybe. I don't know. But even if it's just to keep the towns to feel safe, sure. But there's plenty of there. I mean, from the beginning of this case, we saw that there were state troopers, Idaho state troopers that were at every school, every public school. They're patrolling the areas. They're doing everything they can to keep the community safe. Why perpetuate something that might help put the community in some sort of panic? We don't want that. You know what I mean? Like we don't want. I mean, this is this killer is the equivalent to a terrorist in the sense that what ends up happening is a terrorist basically wins when they cause terror. When they cause terror and they make everybody too afraid to live their lives. I would prefer to not give the killer that kind of power. You know what I mean? So, I mean, yeah, it's just, and they're saying that they cleared the guy because he had an alibi. And so for all we know, I'm talking about the hoodie guy, the guy with the hoodie. I'm curious if if anybody's actually confirmed behind the scenes, in law enforcement, if the hoodie guy is the guy that everybody online is saying is. And even if he is, that's not evidence, that, and for all we know, they just publicly cleared the guy to make him not panic. You know what I mean? So like, again, to publicly criticize law enforcement for clearing them, you don't know what their tactics are. You don't know what their strategy is. We have to trust that they have a strategy, at least for now. The answers will come. It takes time to build a case. It takes time to gather evidence, and they are only going to make an arrest once they feel that they have enough evidence that a defense attorney cannot use to create doubt. They cannot make any doubt available for a jury. That's when they make an arrest. So Kirstie Alley died. Let me see something. I did not know that Kirstie Alley died. Everybody's blowing up my chat talking about Kirstie Alley. Wait. Oh, okay. A battle with cancer. Wow. So I'll read this real quick. This is a tweet from her family on her page. To all our friends far and wide around the world, we are sad to inform you that our incredible, fierce and loving mother has passed away after a battle with cancer, only recently discovered. She was surrounded by her closest family and fought with great strength, leaving us with a certainty of her never-ending joy of living and whatever adventures lie ahead. As iconic as she was on screen, she was an even more amazing mother and grandmother. We are grateful to the incredible team of doctors and nurses at the Moffitt Cancer Center for their care. Our mother's zest and passion for life, her children, grandchildren, and her many animals, not to mention her eternal joy of creating, were unparalleled and leave us inspired to live life to the fullest just as she did. We thank you for your love and prayers and ask that you respect our privacy at this difficult time. With love always, True and Lily Parker. Very sad. Very, very sad. I thought Kirstie Alley was great. I thought Cheers improved when she came on and Shelley Long left. I like Shelley Long kind of, but I didn't like her character much. She got on my nerves. I liked Kirstie Alley's character. And, you know, who could forget Look Who's Talking? That was great. She was fantastic in that. And she was very vocal on Twitter about the things that happen in Hollywood that shouldn't be happening in Hollywood. Shelley's character was annoying. I don't even think I really started watching it like for real until Kirstie Alley came along. Yeah, cancer does suck. I don't think there's anybody in this chat that hasn't lost somebody to cancer. I've lost too many people in my family to cancer, friends. It's a horrible thing. If I had to guess how I'm going to go, it's probably going to be cancer. Considering the history that it is in my family. So yeah, it's a horrible thing. So I wasn't going to do this. I wasn't going to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. I wasn't going to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway.
He looked at her and he goes, "Well, ma'am, what do you think that means?" Well, she was like, "Well, you know, that's his victims. That's the people he's assaulted, the women he's raped. Look, this one's 22. This is what she says. I shit you not. You can't make this shit up, YouTube. I swear you can't make this up. You cannot.
Yeah, you make shit up all the time.
Trolls are like worms. They leak into your brain. Okay. So she got surrounded by these trolls. So she's believing everything these trolls say. Right. So she's believing there's really 30 victims of, like, I'm fucking Bill Cosby up in here and shit. And I'm throwing roofies into your drink. Right.
Okay, so he's talking about, so apparently there's a whole bunch of accusations coming from women on YouTube, women in his chat, I guess his ex-mods, and there's been a lot of accusations. And the thing about that is I haven't discussed those things because I haven't seen any solid proof of it. I am not going to, I've seen proof of his brother, because he put out a video, a really disturbing, sick video that I won't even play on this channel. Really gross. But the thing about him and his accusers, they fail to provide proof. And as a matter of fact, a couple of them, or at least one of them that I know of, victimized him to a certain degree. Like, the only reason why I know what this guy's dick looks like is because somebody emailed me without warning an unsolicited pic of him. And I didn't want to see it. I did not want to see that. I wish I could unsee it. But nobody, I didn't ask to see that shit. And it's really fucked up to be spreading that around.
So she tells the judge, right? And the judge looks at her and he goes, "Well, how do you know that's what it means?" And I was like, I looked at the judge, that's the judge. Oh, and she was like, and he's selling them for $60. She emphasized the $60. She said it like twice. And, Your Honor, they're $60. Like is that what is the what if they were $100? What does it matter what the fucking hoodie cost, right? What does it matter in the court of law what I sell a hoodie for?
I mean,
If I sell the hoodie for
he's not wrong. You know what I mean? Like, he's not wrong. Do I think it's gross that he made these hoodies? But I think it's more gross that he has an audience that would actually buy those fucking stupid things. Like, have you seen this fucking hoodie? Like, apparently he has all these victims, and so his way of playing with that is he's selling victim number this or victim number that hoodies, which is fucking gross, really. But it's even gross that other people would buy them. You know what I mean? But he's right in the sense that, like, what difference does he make what he fucking sells those for? If you're stupid enough to buy that shit, that's on you.
the hoodie for $10, if I sell the hoodie for $20, if I sell the hoodie for $50, $60, what does it matter what the damn hoodie costs?
I mean, true.
So I looked at the judge, I said, that's a custom hoodie. I didn't even design it. I didn't even design the hoodie. You know, I just made that for somebody. You want a hoodie? I'll make it for you. Right? That's what they wanted on the hoodie.
You
now
just said I didn't design it, but okay.
Other people want the same hoodie, but they want their own numbers and shit on it. And I'm going to sell you those hoodies. But in court, to bring up the price of my hoodie, you in there saying you scared of me, that you worried about me killing you, but that you ain't talking about me killing you. You're talking about he's selling hoodies for $60. I don't think that's going to kill you, lady. Okay.
I mean, again, like, the thing is like, I'm not going to hate on this guy for fucking selling merch, you know, even though the merch is fucking gross. The problem is there's a thing called supply and demand. Okay. And unless there's a demand for the shit that he's selling, it wouldn't sell, and he wouldn't sell it. So I blame the people that are actually buying the shit and giving them money. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's fucking, yeah. Like, is the concept of his fucking merch gross and shitty? Absolutely. It's disgusting. But, you know, you motherfuckers are the ones paying for it. You know what I mean? Like, you're buying it.
I don't think the price of my hoodie is going to, it might kill some people. They look up there and go, damn, $60. Right? But I don't think it's physically going to kill you, the price of my hoodie, to bring it up. Okay. Dolly victim.
See, that's the problem, is I don't like, you know, I put up a post a while ago when these allegations about him first came up. I was like, anybody who has proof, send me the proof. Send me the proof. A very public post. Send me the proof. I got nothing regarding proof. Nothing regarding the proof of the allegations against him. Absolutely nothing. And I was like, dude, I will fucking drag this fool. I'll expose the fuck out of him. You know, like, one thing that I can't stand is people that are doing things of a sexual nature and victimizing people with it. I have no patience for that shit. I have no tolerance for that shit. And that would have absolutely made me angry. But again, I never saw any proof. I saw things that seemed consensual. You know, I saw things that seemed perfectly consensual. I mean, it doesn't matter what the act is. If the act is consensual, it's none of my business, and it's none of your fucking business, period. But I haven't seen anything that shows that it's not consensual. I saw nothing. I saw claims. I saw him being gross with somebody else, but is it gross if the person wanted him to be that way, to say the things that he did? They seem like private voice messages that ended up being very public, that he didn't consent to them being public. Now, I'm not defending the guy. I don't like the guy. I think in the true crime community, this kind of garbage and this kind of fucking lack of professionalism and lack of any type of you know, like the way that this guy's behaved regarding the true crime community has been gross and disgusting. Absolutely. You can't just fucking walk up on a woman and assault her, you know, and you can't be screaming through a bullhorn, calling women whores and cunts in front of their kids. You know, you can't do that shit. It's gross. It's fucked up. And do I think he should be locked up for things like that? Yeah, absolutely. But the thing is the stuff, as far as these accusations about his sexual misconduct, I've seen no evidence to indicate that it was not consensual. I've seen no okay, but again, heels in the air. See, he allegedly attacked his mod while traveling. Not sure how you get proof aside from her word. Well, I don't know anything about that, but what she should have done, and if she did, good for her, but what she should have done is filed a report. Like, if he gets charged with something, that's a little different, because what that tells me is that law enforcement has enough evidence to where they feel that they could convict him. But I'm not about to, that's a serious accusation. And I'm not about to start throwing accusations and condemning somebody for if there's no proof of it. That's a horrible accusation to make against somebody if it's not true. Simple. But I haven't seen any charges, nothing. With Jared Lysick, it's a very different situation because we saw proof. We saw proof that he acknowledged was him in those exchanges in the emails where he basically admitted and definitely did not deny what his accuser was accusing him of. That's a different story. So yeah, I will sit up here and be like, that dude is a fucking child rapist piece of shit without any hesitation whatsoever. Reading those emails disgusted me. But I looked, trust me, I dug. I don't like this fucking guy. But I dug and I told people, send me proof. Like if he sent an unsolicited dick pic, even, got no proof of that. No proof of that.
I think she was mad she didn't have a hoodie. She wanted to buy one. She probably would have wore it to court. Okay.
Right. Because what it looks like, and I hate admitting this, because again, I don't like this piece of shit. But what it looks like, what everything looks like, is he is careless and irresponsible with women's feelings, probably a sex addict, probably engages in these online little relationships like too much, and wants to have phone sex with everybody. You know what I mean? Like, for all I know, he wants to have phone sex with the whole world, every single girl that is fucking probably totally insecure, and women throw pictures at him or say, oh, I think you're hot and I think you're cute, blah, blah, blah. And then he engages, right? And he does it without the capability of saying no. And then what happens is once they find out that he's a fucking e-whore, then they get pissed off at him. And so he just pissed off a whole bunch of women, and now they're coming after him. That's the way it looks. I don't know if that's fact any more than I know whether or not it's true, whether or not these accusations are correct. Who the fuck knows? But I'm saying that's the way it looks. So, you know, and this is the thing is one thing that I'll criticize him for, because he's a fucking hypocrite, is I'm sitting here and I don't pick and choose. I don't get to cherry pick what's fact and what's not. And I don't get to cherry pick when it's okay to say innocent until proven guilty. I always say innocent until proven guilty. But this guy is on one side of his mouth saying, no, that's in a court of law. That doesn't count anywhere else. That doesn't count outside of a court of law. We get to accuse people of crimes, but then wants to hide behind innocent until proven guilty when his ass is on the line, when it's his dick on the block. So no, I don't approve of this guy in any way, shape, or form. well, to say I don't approve wouldn't be the right word, but I definitely call bullshit in his pattern of thinking. Because when it's convenient for him to hide behind innocent until proven guilty, well, okay. But yo, put that same energy, use that same energy when it comes to the victims that you're accusing of shit.
She would have wore that shit right to court, Dolly victim. You know what I'm saying? And she was mad. She should have ordered one. But she's probably upset at the price.
But he's right. It totally
$30.
It totally comes off like these are just fucking women who he pissed off, and now they're just trying to fucking get back at him. Because I wouldn't put it past some of these women that I see with their YouTube channels that have just been simply fucking just throwing crazy shit out there, and their whole channels are based on hating on this guy, but yet they haven't shown any receipts, documents. All they've shown, especially this I'm in a mood person or something like that, all she's done is shown private things that seemed consensual, that there's no proof that there's no consent. So basically, she put his private shit out there. But so my concern with this dude is not the accusations that he's getting right now, because I need proof of that. What I do have proof of is him assaulting a woman at the scene of the of Lalani and Billy's house. I saw proof of that. I saw him verbally assault a woman. Multiple. Those are the things that I will focus on. Those are the things that I'll call him out on, because he's fucking proud of it. And then he talks about, well, you know, I'll choke a bitch or blah, 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 you know, and he stands by it. Those are the things that I'll criticize because I've seen proof of it. But I'm not about to jump on some bandwagon to fucking lynch this guy and pitchfork this guy as a fucking sexual predator, because I don't have proof of him being a sexual predator. I have proof of him being a fucking e-whore, but that's it. That's not illegal. That's not victimization. It is if you're dishonest, but it's not in any way sexual misconduct in some way where you're just lying to one woman and saying that I'm not talking to anybody else when you are. That's not a crime. That's just being a shitbag. And the truth is I don't give a fuck about that. That's none of my business. All of you people in chat right now that are married or have boyfriends and you're cheating, or have girlfriends that you're cheating on, or wives or husbands that you're cheating on, that's none of my fucking business. That's nobody else's fucking business, and I don't give a fuck about that. Any YouTube creator, whatever's happening in their lives behind the scenes, I don't give a fuck about that. That's none of my business. It's none of your business. I don't care about any of that. What I care about are victims and their families, and them being exploited and further victimized by people that are giving all YouTubers a bad name, by YouTubers that are giving all YouTubers a bad name. That is what I have a problem with. No. Okay, let me explain something. True crime, Tracy. And if you're going to use the word true crime in your name, then please, and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to attack you, but I'm going to explain why I'm saying this. If you're going to use true crime in your name, then please be somebody who follows facts, okay? Not somebody who just follows people's words. Because here you are saying, but you're demanding victims, in all caps, show proof of something that is hard to show, quote unquote, proof of any way, but mostly is proof that would humiliate them and just hurt them more. No, that's the thing, is there's no way, okay, that I am going to accuse someone of something as heinous as sexual misconduct towards somebody if there's no proof of it. There's just no way. I'm not demanding that they show proof. I'm saying don't come at me unless it's proof. Don't talk to me about that unless it's proof. And if you actually have a complaint of someone assaulting you, whether it be online or in person, in a sexual manner, you need to report them to the authorities. You don't need to blast them on social media, at least until you have charges brought up on them. Because that's not fair. Because what that's going to do is going to make logical people look at you like you're the aggressor. You can't just say somebody's a rapist. You can't just say somebody just sent you dick pics without proof. You know what I mean? You can't do that. Yeah, no, I see White Boy Lockdown Radio. We've had our differences, and I'm not exactly his biggest fan, but as long as he's behaving in my chat and he's getting along with everybody, he's welcome here. He's fine. Yeah. Dude, at your own peril. At your own peril, dude. I mean, you put yourself in a position to come up on my panel, dude. All right? I'm telling you, I'm not gonna. But okay, I'll bite. Let's see what you have to say. And I'm not letting anybody else up here except for White Boy Lockdown Radio. So don't even bother clicking on the link unless you're him. All right. That is definitely him. What's going on, dude?
Hey, I'm not here to troll. Man, the chat is tough. I mean, I know we had our differences, but geez, I'm agreeing with you. And I don't want to take too much of your live up. It's not I'm not coming up here to clown on you. None of that. None of that. I actually agree with what you're saying. Everything what you're saying. So that's all I wanted to say. God, the chat is ruthless. I mean, some people support.
But I mean, couldn't you have just said that in the chat? I mean, do you have something to add? You can add. But well, I mean, nobody's blocking you. Nobody's deleting your comments.
It is what it is. That's actually to be expected. But listen, I agree with you. Okay, with a lot. And I actually just got done watching some clip channel. I never knew that you debated him. So
who, Dolly?
Was that on your channel or his?
It was his.
That's what I thought.
I'm not going to fault him. I'm not going to fault him as far as that. Like, he was totally wrong, and he made himself look like an ass because I faced him with questions that, you know, I gave him the opportunity to answer because for the very same things that I criticize him for on this channel. And anybody that I criticize is always going to have a chance to confront me directly, which is why I let you up here on this channel, on this panel. So I'm not going to I'm not one of those people, and I criticize those creators that will talk shit about a creator and then not allow them to be confronted on their own platform. I mean, that's just cowardly. But as far as he's concerned, I will give him credit because it took balls to have me on his channel. And he out of everybody does not have me blocked, which is amazing. But he did let me up. But I mean, it went exactly. What?
Do I have you blocked?
Probably.
I don't think I do.
Probably.
But I'm going to adjust that if I do. It's possible. What I want to do is I agree with everything you said so far, and I don't want to hold up your live or hijack it. It's not the purpose here. You said something about what is it? The X or something? Just a mod. Is that the name of the channel?
It's something mood. I don't know. Something mood. I don't really know.
I agree with what you're saying there. And trust me, I know because you have a channel. It's bigger than mine. But when you have a certain amount of subscribers, people are going to send you things, and if they feel that you can speak out against something, they're going to try to feed you information. And I know you've got those emails, right?
I got an email from not her, another person. I don't even want to name her name here, but like she's proven to be completely and totally fucking certifiable as far as I'm concerned. You know, me having a lack of a mental health degree, but I mean, it's pretty, you know, there's crazy and then there's just not crazy, and she's fucking nuts.
I understand exactly what you're saying, but it's weird when someone's on the internet for for a while and there's nothing, and then comes to a certain point where there's like crazy allegations come out. So I do agree with you on that, or so much as just personal life. I agree with you there, and I didn't know that you debated him. And look, we've had our differences. It's no it's no surprise to anybody. Look, when you debate people, I'll give you credit. I think that you killed Ryan Upchurch. I gave you credit. We've had our differences, but I gotta say,
that's another one that didn't have to, like, at least Dolly had the balls to fucking debate me. Brian Upchurch didn't have the balls to do it. But the problem is that these people know that I'm right. When you block somebody right off the bat and you're faced with truth, that's usually the route they go, and then they try to dox you and blah 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 blah, and that's usually what happens. They go real life, which is always the real cowardly way to go. I have to ask you, while I have you up here though, I mean, one of the reasons why I criticized you was because you seem to want to associate yourself with these people as much as possible. At least you did when I was talking about you. So, I mean, what is it about their content that you found in some way insightful, or in any way? I mean, why would you associate with these people if you're up here agreeing with me?
Blair, that's I think you got that part confused. I don't know what you've watched of my channel besides the criticism you have.
I've watched you shout out Betty. I've watched you shout out Dolly. I've watched you shout out MGL. I've watched you shout out everybody that I criticize. So
you've never. What about?
Are you saying that you didn't? Am I going to have to pull up receipts?
Go for it. I exposed them well before you started to, which is why I'm like, why is this dude? What is he like? And I know them in real life. So I think where you're getting it the confusion is Molly is a total scunt. That lady, I never shouted her out. That is a dead issue. Please pull the receipts. With that whole crew, I think you're putting me in with them when I was out there in my town where the Laundry and Gabby case is, which is the first time I ever went to do something. I didn't know them. I met them out there and they completely shit on me. And I exposed screenshots and voicemails. My wife was going to beat the shit. Let me leave that part off. But I don't shout them people off. I don't know Dolly. So you probably I tried to support him kind of in the true crime thing. But being that he's with the same people that completely shit on my family, like they have publicly lied on us, that we know them personally from out here. All of them, JLR, Betty, Molly. I tried to rekindle and stay neutral with Betty. That didn't go.
I mean, if she did all these horrible things to you in real life, why?
Here's why. Because she doesn't live really too far from me. In reality, I'll never see Molly again. She lives in Hershey, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania. Okay. JLR actually lives far from me, but Betty's not too far from me. And I know she is involved in politics, as am I and my family. So we probably would brush into each other locally as we did in the Gabby case. So I try to rekindle it after she shit on me. But dude, like you say, voices behind the balls and her actually teamed up in the Quentin case. I've tried to expose this.
Wait, stop for a
Betty,
second.
Betty told me that
You're
personally
saying,
on the phone. Betty told
that
me
they
this.
teamed up,
bro.
I thought that they were. I thought that. Okay, how are they teaming up?
Blair,
if
please do me a favor.
Let me just ask this question real quick. How are they teaming up? How are they teaming up if Voices Behind My Balls is going public, saying and having Billy Joe, which is Leilani's mother, which is Quentin's grandmother, on her panel and defending her, while Betty is outside of her house calling her a baby killer and a child abuser and screaming at her neighbors? What do you mean? Thank you. Like, dude, you're contradicting yourself right now. So how are they buddies? Okay, explain.
Let me answer your question.
You're right. I didn't give you a chance to answer.
Can you do share screen?
I don't know why.
Share screen. Go to my channel. Roll back to the videos where I say I spoke with Bullhorn Betty today. Or you don't have to do all that. Do it when I get off the live. Check. Fact check me. I called Bullhorn Betty on one of my lives. I wanted to know what was going on because I see people protesting, not protesting, this and that. She didn't answer.
Do you have that conversation recorded?
No, I didn't record it, but I could if you give me an email off air.
So do you think Betty would admit that you think that Betty or Cher would admit to working together behind the scenes during that case?
Hold on. Hold on. Go ahead. Say it, babe. Say it. Go for it.
After you did a video about Cher, she called me to clear it up and figure out what was going on. She told me herself that she was sideways working with her, but not to benefit Betty, to benefit her, Cher, and what's her name, Billy Joe.
So here's what happened. I never shouted out Molly. I never shouted out JLR because I'll never see those creators again in my life. I tried to rekindle and stay neutral with Betty. Okay, that was my mistake. That was, I don't know, probably a little bit after me and you were going through it. I'm just catching you up. And everything I'm saying, you can go to my channel and please catch me in a lie. Quentin Simon case comes. I have my opinions on it, make videos about it. Things are like neutral with me and Betty.
Okay.
Like not. I never got. Wait. Just let me finish before you kill me with all these questions. I'm trying to catch you up. I mean, she never apologized. I just figured I'd see her in certain spots that I'm gonna go to off YouTube, if that makes sense.
All right, real quick. I want to stay on task here because I want you to understand that I don't really care about your personal relationships with these people. What I'm concerned about and what this channel is concerned about is that type of shit leaking into the true crime community, because what that does, what all of these channels do, even your beef with each other, because my beef isn't personal. I don't give a fuck about what you do outside of your YouTube channel or anything. I don't care about any of that. But when you are tagging victims' names and then using the victims' names to use as clickbait to get people to listen to your personal shit between these other creators, that's where I have a problem, because it's disrespectful to these victims. That's my issue. So, and you do that. Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Do that. Betty does it. MGL does it. Dolly does it.
No, I don't.
That's my biggest issue.
Okay.
It's one of my biggest issues, besides spreading misinformation, which I don't think you share any information on these cases.
That's terrific. That's terrific. So answering your first question, that's terrific. I'm happy that you feel that way, but I'm not going to address how you feel towards me or I feel towards you, because we can have a big debate about that, and that's not what I came up here for. I agree with you, and what I'm trying to catch you up on that you're completely missing is who you call Voices Behind the Walls and Betty did plan it. Savage played what she played was 100% real. Okay, if you would just listen and not ask additional questions. 1 second, dude. When I called her live, she didn't answer. She called me the next day and explained to me what was going on. I made a video that day after the phone call. She told me so. She told me her and Cher are teamed up. I was pissed about it because what you don't know, Glare, is the whole time I've been in contact with Diane, who is the babysitter in this case, who had to take a personal loan out to get security cameras installed around her house because of what was created out there. And the whole time it was teamed up.
So you're okay. So you're talking about
I played a phone
Diane.
call.
The same Diane that was on Betty's channel admitting that she was making them sandwiches and in full support of what they were doing outside of Lilani and Billy Joe's house. That
Yes, the
Diane?
same Diane, the same Diane that doesn't understand YouTube at all. She doesn't understand YouTube at all, who they were going in and using her bathroom. That lady lives two doors down there protesting that. She likes protesting, that lady Diane. She's for it. She doesn't understand YouTube or tragedy pimps, dude. She doesn't understand that. So
none of this makes sense. None of this makes sense. You realize that, right? Because you're sitting here telling me that this person is talking to you and criticizing Betty and blah, blah, blah.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. No. You're negative and you're trying to like stumble me and catch me in a lie. No, you're misunderstanding it. You're misunderstanding it. What part? How did Betty come in the picture with Diane, dude? Listen, you're not gonna do me like you did Dolly. This is me talking to you. Kick me off if you can't keep up with the truth. What you just said was never happened. Never came out of my mouth. Let me tell you again.
Oh my God, man.
Go ahead.
No, please keep going.
No. We're gonna stay on your point.
Yeah.
No.
So why?
No. Wait. Diane, the conversation I had with how's that funny? Your shirt is funny and your hairdo and your receding hairline is funny. It is.
Dude, you realize
the 1980 jerseys you have behind you are funny. Are we going to clown at each other or have a conversation?
I'm laughing because you're not making any sense. You're completely inconsistent in everything that you're saying.
You made it inconsistent. You made it inconsistent. I'm telling you something, and then you threw in a monkey wrench to go against what I'm saying. Any human being can see that, bro. You're not gonna do me like Dolly. I'm not your best friend, but I'm not your enemy. This is easy.
I'd have to care about you for you to be my enemy.
Dude,
okay? I don't.
You jumped on my panel and said you envy me. The first person in my life. Thanks. All right, so I was gonna tell you what's up, but there's no purpose to.
Okay.
Listen.
Right.
Can I get you an extra large shirt for Christmas?
No, I like the way my shirts fit me. What a fucking idiot. I mean, I let him up. I knew he was going to make himself look stupid. What's up, Just Larry? Long time, man. Thanks, buddy. And thanks to everybody. Hold on. Let me acknowledge the other ones because I didn't get to read them. Thank you, None Your Business. Your guest is why I've married a black man. Yeah, there's nothing about this dude that ever makes sense. Thank you, Dolly Vision. Not really Dolly Vision, but thank you. There's nothing about this dude that has ever made sense. That's why I stopped talking about him, because I was just like, there's no point. It's like, I feel like I'm picking on somebody because I don't think that he can help it. What he's got going on is obviously some sort of intellectual deficiency that I am not that I am not qualified to diagnose in any way, shape, or form. But the deficiency, I promise you, is clearly there. That's why I said, come on up at your own peril. So, yeah. And that's why I'm not going to get into a battle of wits with a guy like that. I'm just not going to do it. I can't, I don't have it in me. I'm not going to get into a physical fight with someone on crutches. You know what I mean? Like that would be fucked up. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. I'm just not going to do it. So, yeah. Poor guy. Lace up. I can't be the only one that knows that quote. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, him and his wife, man, they're funny. I had my oh my God. Scarlet Summer, thank you. He's rambling word. What's up, Morbid Reality? Chaotic artist Anita Spiro, thank you. Why do they all end up trying to pull you down with the name calling? Because they have no argument. Like I confronted him with something very simple, which was he was absolutely contradicting himself. This dude cannot think. He clearly his mouth was projecting exactly how his brain seems to function, and that's all I could do. I mean, I was nice enough to let him up here, and I told him it was at his own peril. But see, but we're gonna move on. Let's move on. Going over some stuff that I haven't gone over yet. Give me a second here. All right. So let's go over what Bullhorn Strangler learned from the Idaho unsolved murders case. So of course she starts off. He's jealous. That's all. No views, white boy. I mean, maybe I don't care. You know, I don't wish that guy any harm. I had my fun with him, and then it got to a point to where like it was just redundant. So I stopped talking about him. And yeah. I got to a point to where I just felt like I was picking on someone who was with an intellectual deficiency of some sort, and I didn't want to. I just felt like I was picking on the guy, and I don't really want to do that anymore. I have no interest in that. So this is drama-free Betty here. This is drama-free Betty. This is exactly how she starts off this last video, which I find really funny.
Well, I don't give a shit, because if people don't like me because of the way I talk or think, that's their business. See what I'm saying? That's their business. Like, it's your business. I ain't mad at you if you don't like me. I don't give a fuck. Like, you know, it's your business. It's not my business. The question is why do people care? Well, I'll tell you why, because they need your validation. They want you to like me because they don't like themselves. So they're looking for everybody else to validate their value. Am I cool? Am I good? You like me?
Did I make it?
Am I right? Huh? You know, I don't do that.
That's exactly what she does. That's the entire essence of Betty's channel. Yeah. Let's get to it.
For absolutely free. 3 of them. You ain't got to play a doggone thing. Hear me. Understand that you can stay out my face for free. You can stay out my business for free. And you can stay out my way.
Because she's not concerned with the drama, but she's obviously concerned with the drama. This is all she takes these other creators shit and then and then acts like it's a spokesperson for her. Like, yes, I feel that. I feel that, girl.
For free. Those things won't cost you a doggone thing. 3 places you can stay for absolutely free. Thank you.
Good evening, coming from the office.
I had to turn the volume down. It's too loud.
Home. What a long trip. What a long trip. What a sad trip. What an emotional trip. But we're home. Olivia should be getting
Emotional.
home, I don't know.
You know, we went over Brian Enton out there reporting. And I have to criticize Brian Enton his reporting skills, because at no point when I saw Brian Enton out there reporting on facts of the case and things of that nature for News Nation, I have to criticize that not once did I hear him talk about how cold it was, because in a news reporter, when it comes to a news reporter, when it comes to a journalist, a bona fide member of the press, folks, a bona fide member of the press, I expect to hear complaints about the weather constantly. I didn't hear it at all. No consistent complaints about the weather from Brian Enton. Dude, get your shit together, Brian Enton, please.
Be pulling up anytime now at her house. We didn't have bags, so we did find our bags. They were waiting for us in Tampa. It was just a very draining trip, as you guys can imagine. 3-hour time difference, that poses a problem in and of itself.
No, it doesn't.
Sleep deprivation, staying up, trying to keep everybody apprised of everything that's going on. I think the takeaway here, before we kind of get started on, everything that has been going on in the news while we've been
love my
traveling,
chat.
Especially with Kaylee's parents. They've been speaking. They had a Fox News video we're going to be playing and breaking down for commentary and educational purposes. So it's like it's a little odd. So Amy, I did fix it. I pulled that name early on in the thing because I only cut and paste. I think the news articles that I was pulling it from had her spelled Gone Clays, and since then it looks like news have been typing her name correctly. So I fixed it. Thank you for reminding me. Donna, nice to see you.
Wait.
Steph, nice to
Stop,
see you. Paulette,
stop.
reminding news articles that I was pulling it from had her spelled Gone Clays, and since then it looks like news have been typing her name correctly. So
Who would have thought that reputable news sources were actually spelling victims' names correctly? Betty, that's a hell of a fucking revelation there. So let's mark that as number 1 of what she's learned based on her title here. What we've learned. Holy moly, what we've learned. Idaho 4, what we've learned. So let's mark that as number 1 of what Betty learned from this case, is that reputable news sources were actually typing the victim's name correctly, even though she was trying to say that they weren't. Okay.
I fixed it. Thank you for reminding me. Donna, nice to see you. Steph, nice to see you. Paulette, Katrina, unsolved cases in news. Nice to see you. Robin End, a stoner's thoughts.
So
nice
let me get this straight.
Well, guys, if you have
her chat is full of people who are just wannabe news reporters too. Unsolved cases in news. Let's look that up real quick. Let's see if they have a channel with any content. In news. Nope. No. There was Ann News. Hold on. Let's see. Let's try Ann News. Unsolved mysteries. Lots of unsolved mysteries episodes here. Yeah. No, nothing. Betty, I love your channel. I relate to you because I'm a fake ass reporter too. And I love your channel because you have the balls to actually go on YouTube and call yourself a reporter when you know jack shit and you're not an actual reporter.
If you haven't gone out and liked this segment, please do. I have been literally on a plane for like 8 hours today, and it's been like when we finally got to Tampa, I just leaned over and hugged Olivia. I'm like, oh my God, we're back. It's been great being home. Seeing my bed. I forgot that when I left here, I left a bunch of shit on the bed, so I got to clean the bed off before I even get in it. I've got 3.
Did you Amber Heard your own bed? Is that what I just heard you say? Got a bunch of shit on my own bed and I have to clean it off.
Toothbrushes now because I packed my toothbrush and I couldn't find it, so I bought a package of toothbrushes, which ended up leaving with the luggage. And so, last night we needed to brush our teeth, so we had to go buy new toothpaste, new toothbrush. And I forgot the tube of toothpaste was big, so I ended up getting checked at the airport for a tube of toothpaste. Can't make this stuff up. They put the toothpaste back in the bag. And,
it's
sent
true.
Me on my way.
You can't make that stuff up. Like everybody fucking knows.
Gotta brush your teeth.
They're not going to let you on the airplane with a big old tube of toothpaste.
Went to Walmart and got, you have to be clean. There's just certain things that I can do wearing the same clothes for 24 hours. I can do that. I can't wear the same underwear for 24 hours. I'm sorry. There's just something about it. Ain't doing it. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. It has been quite the journey. It was sad.
Oh my
It was
God,
really
bro.
sad.
Nobody cares.
The takeaway is that these kids out there at the university just don't want to talk. Like, like there is no honor in silence. There is no honor in.
Okay. All right. So the second thing that she learned was that she went out to Idaho, to the University of Idaho, and discovered that these people don't want to interfere with an ongoing investigation. Kind of crazy that those kids actually want justice for their peers. Insane thought that these kids actually know who she is. What's up, Panda? That these kids actually have an idea of who she is and are like, nope, not talking to your ass. You're insane. And I mean, they're not going to fucking there's a reason why YouTubers don't go around doing what she does. Because how do I look going up to somebody who just lost possibly a friend, right? How am I going to look walking up to somebody and being like, hi, I want to ask you a few questions about an open investigation. My name's Bullhorn Betty, and I'm with YouTube. They're going to go, nope, thanks, sorry. These are college kids. They're already more established than she is. They've already, these kids have already accomplished more in life than she has because they're intelligent, because they have a bright future. These are kids on the first steps to having a career, and they know better. They're not idiots. These are people that know social media a lot better than she does because they're young and they live in a social media age. They know better. They're not idiots. These are college people. These are people getting a higher education. Okay? And here she is saying that there's no honor in silence, that these kids, they're not honorable because they're not talking to her. Interesting.
Honor in silence. And I'm hoping
Idiot.
that they're just not talking to the family and just not talking to media. I'm hoping that they're talking to the police, at least.
Of course they
at least.
are.
But what I can tell you is it sounds to me, based upon
Why the fuck would you even compare talking to you to talking to the police? This is why channels like me sit up here and fucking talk about you this way, because you actually are that delusional to where you think that talking to you is somehow associated with the honor that it takes to talk to law enforcement. Fascinating.
these interviews that I have been reviewing from, Kaylee's parents, that they're broken, they're frustrated, they want answers. Law enforcement's not really giving them the answers that they want. It doesn't mean they can't go get them themselves, right?
What? I gotta play that again.
Just they want answers. Based upon these interviews that I have been reviewing from, Kaylee's parents.
Now, the same interview we just went over, by the way.
They're broken. They're frustrated. They want answers. Law enforcement's not really giving them the answers that they want. It doesn't mean they can't go get them themselves, right?
What do you mean? What the fuck are you talking about? Are you suggesting that the parents go around asking people questions and themselves interfering in the very investigation that they want justice for? That the investigation, the purpose that investigation serves is justice for their child and their sibling? And that you're suggesting that they should go around and badger people? Wow. Idiot.
Just law enforcement's not going to be giving them the answers that they need. And it's sad. And I understand why. In a homicide investigation, this is the protocol. And when a family is desperate for answers and trying to find out what happened to the loved one, they don't want to hear it. They want answers, and they want answers yesterday. And you can't blame them for that. Any of us would be be acting the same way if we were in the same position. I have to tell you that I think Kaylee's parents are really fighting for her. They're holding strong right now. They have to, and they have to be. There's going to be, if they haven't already had it, there's going to be the break. Everybody goes through it. I watched one of my friends when her brother passed away. She kept it together until the celebration of life was almost over, and she lost it. She had a break. She put a great celebration of life together for her brother. So I can kind of imagine that, the family.
You don't fucking know what they're doing behind the scenes and how they're grieving and how they're handling this. You don't know shit.
Are all going to be going through that, and it's if they haven't already. And again, this is a pain that never goes away. This is not something that's going to ever get better. Their life is forever changed, and it's sad. It's sad, and we keep wanting to know what monster.
We know it's sad.
Did this to those beautiful souls. There's nothing that anybody could have done to deserve this. Period. Nothing. There is nothing. And, we keep theorizing of what type of person this could be. And quite frankly, it's not somebody, everybody's still pointing the finger.
This should be Rich.
At the boyfriends. Guys, this is, I don't know.
Let's hear her theorize and profile this killer. This should be fucking amazing.
Since you guys at this, I'm not going to try. I'm not going to try. All I can tell you guys is they're not involved. I can't tell you anything else than that.
That's because you don't know. What do you mean? You can't tell us that they're not. You can't tell us how they're not involved because you don't fucking know. You know less than the family.
Looking at them is wasting a whole bunch of valuable time and resources of yours. It really is.
And nobody's looking at them anymore, you idiot.
Jeremy kid that talked to the news, and his interview went viral. And then he started getting a bunch of hate. Guys, he's not involved. You're wasting your time.
They
Time
already
that could
stopped.
be used on somebody else. Time that could be used investigating.
All she's doing right now is just regurgitating her perception and her you know, she's just regurgitating her own interpretation of the News Nation shit that we just watched. It's all she's doing.
Investigating somebody else. He's not it. The RSO, where you can basically see their home from his house. I know, I went there. Is not involved. It's not him. You're wasting your time looking at him.
We know nobody's doing that.
I mean, I don't know what. I can't convince people. All I can do is give you guys the information for you to make your own decisions and your own theories and your own hypotheses.
You haven't given us any
You know,
information.
there's not really a whole lot, nor would I condemn you for thinking the way that you think, because at the end of the day, this is definitely without.
So far, here's the information that she's given us, guys. It's cold in Idaho. My hands are literally red because it's cold in Idaho. That's literally all the information that she's given us.
Without a doubt, a classic whodunit. Classic. We as people don't know. I can only tell you what I feel the type of person that would have committed this crime did. That's it. You know, I put out a video this morning that I had no makeup, guys. You had to see me raw. That's me raw right there. You don't get any more bedhead raw than that, right? And that's the way I had to look all day, right? People probably thought I was a hot mess, but that's okay. But all I can do is describe, you know, who done it, or you know, who I think would have, the personality, not the person, of the person that may be responsible for this. But getting back to the DNA, I did this whole thing on the DNA because we just learned last night on Nancy Grace, if you guys were watching, and I think Ictamil actually ran a segment on this case, you know, related to the Nancy Grace segment. And that was the first time we learned. We knew that DNA was collected. We knew that they went in there and they got, you know, 113 pieces of individual evidence from the home. And we were hopeful that there was DNA. We were hopeful that there was DNA from the perpetrator in that home. We learned on, I believe, December 1st or December 2nd that law enforcement were finally getting.
Wow. So the third thing that Betty learned from, you know, her holy moly moment, what she's learned about this case is that they collected DNA hoping to catch the killer with it. Oh, wow. That's crazy. I mean, because, you know, what other reason would there be to fucking collect DNA from a crime scene when you don't know who the killer is? I mean, what? So now we know that they collected DNA from the crime scene in order to try to find out who did it.
Getting some of those preliminary forensic results in, not everything, but we didn't hear from law enforcement, even though that the press release that stated that they would release some information to us, that they could, if they could. We have not heard that information be released from law enforcement, other than they have received some of the forensic findings back until last night on Nancy Grace's show,
which they're not going to share with you.
Or maybe it was the night before last, and Ictamil ran it last night. I don't, you know, I've been so busy, I haven't had a chance. So if I'm off a day, you know, don't beat up Bullhorn Betty, okay? But Nancy Grace came out and basically told us that the DNA doesn't match anybody that they've tested. And like, this is amazing news. Now, granted, we'd want
Wait,
the DNA to
what's
hit
amazing
and
news
like
again?
the
Hold on, I was
DNA,
looking at
so
chat.
busy. I haven't had, it was the night before last, and Ikmil ran it last night. I don't, you know, I've been so busy, I haven't had a chance. So if I'm off a day, you know, don't beat up Bullhorn Betty, okay? But Nancy Grace came out and basically told us that the DNA doesn't match anybody that they've tested. And like, this is amazing news. Now, granted, we'd want the DNA to hit on someone, but
now how does Nancy Grace have the inside scoop on DNA? Why, if law enforcement is keeping things close to the vest, as we like to say, if law enforcement is making sure that certain information stays out of the public, okay, why in the fuck would they give the most notorious true crime panelist on television access to the DNA? Why would she have that? Like, if they're trying to keep that from the public, why would someone who gets more viewers in the true crime community than anybody, why would they have that? It's incredible that people can't think.
We never even knew that the assailant's DNA was left at the property. We were hopeful. We believed that it was. We couldn't imagine DNA not being left there. I mean, it was a gruesome, sloppy. Law enforcement told us that right up front. Sloppy investigation. I think it might have came from Kaylee's dad, but sloppy and sloppy.
Yeah, law enforcement is not going to sit here and say that their investigation was sloppy. You fucking dolt. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? And then she says, maybe the dad said. The dad doesn't know. Respectfully, the dad doesn't know what the dad isn't qualified. Again, respectfully, people, the dad is not qualified to say that their investigation is sloppy or not sloppy. He doesn't know. Nobody here is qualified to criticize law enforcement and how they've conducted this case, because we don't know what their investigation consists of so far. And they've been extremely generous with the public with the information that they've been releasing. They've been giving us press releases nearly daily, almost daily. We don't ever see that in these cases. I don't know what the fuck this lady's talking about.
Sloppy crime scene, not investigation, rather crime scene. And we were hopeful. Well, Nancy Grace let us know that yes, there is DNA. We have the assailant's DNA, right?
You just said that they didn't.
That is amazing.
You just said that they didn't. I got to go back.
News. Was surprising news. Now, granted, we'd basically told, you know, don't beat up Bullhorn Betty, okay? But Nancy Grace came out and basically told us that the DNA doesn't match anybody that they've tested.
Right.
And like, this
okay,
is
I knew
amazing.
I wasn't fucking crazy. She just said the DNA doesn't match anybody. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
News. Now, granted, we'd DNA people that gaslight and people that throw, especially channels that I do not.
Oh, here we
do
go,
not like
talking about the channels.
And the reason why
Drama-free zone, folks.
I'm stating all this as I'm talking about the DNA is because we had one Yahoo, which is blocked. Because I don't like people that gaslight and people that throw, especially channels that I do not represent our do not represent this channel whatsoever. Okay, you don't come here throwing names out in my chat or in my comments. You will be blocked. If there are very specific creators that align with the Bullhorn Betty channel. They have the tenacity to do this work. They have the passion to do this work.
It's
They're
not
doing
work.
it for the right reasons. They get off their ass and actually work. Those are the people that I work with that are represented on this channel that get notoriety, get their links on this channel, that get their names stated on this channel. All these other yahoos out there, whether you think they're good or not,
I love it.
I don't care. If you guys are here, we're going on close to 23,000 subscribers on this channel. You guys have been here long enough to know.
Oh my God, shut the fuck up. Hold on a second. So I just got the newest update from Moscow Police Department. I'm going to go ahead and read that. I haven't read it yet. Give me a second here. Got to pull that up. Looks like a lot. Hold on. But I haven't read it yet, so I don't know how, impactful it is or whatever. So here we got Moscow, Idaho. Moscow Police Department is providing the following information to update the public on the known facts surrounding the 4 murders that occurred on November 13th in Moscow, Idaho. There have been statements and speculation about this case, victims, injuries, cause of death, evidence collection and processing, and investigative techniques. With the active criminal investigation, law enforcement has not released additional facts to the family or the public. Very important, people. This is what we were discussing earlier, okay? This is what I speculated earlier. I want to just be very clear about that. So this is in response, obviously, to the family statements that they were on the News Nation. And this is their response to that stuff. So this is important. So this is their official response to this. I'm going to read it one more time. There have been statements and speculation about this case, victims, injuries, cause of death, evidence collection and processing, and investigative techniques. With the active criminal investigation, law enforcement has not released additional facts to the family or the public. We recognize the frustration this causes, and the speculation proliferates in the absence of facts. However, we firmly believe speculation and unvetted information is a disservice to the victims, their families, and our community. I'm going to read that one more time. We recognize the frustration this causes, and the speculation proliferates in the absence of facts. However, we firmly believe speculation and unvetted information is a disservice to the victims, their families, and our community. The Moscow Police Department is committed to providing information wherever possible, but not at the expense of compromising the investigation and prosecution. Key word there, prosecution, people. Again, right there, they're verifying. Right there, what they're doing is verifying everything that I've been telling you, everything that every attorney that's been in this chat has ever told you, that their investigation is merely prelude. An arrest is merely prelude to prosecution. They will not make an arrest unless they feel that they have enough to prosecute someone beyond a reasonable doubt. They will not make an arrest until they feel they have enough evidence to make sure that they can prove in court beyond a reasonable doubt that that person is guilty. Detectives continue investigating what occurred from approximately 9 p.m. on November 12th to 1:45 a.m. on November 13th, when Ethan Chapin and Xana Kernodle were believed to be at the Sigma Chi House on the University of Idaho campus at 735 Nez Perce Drive. Any interactions, contacts, direction, and method of travel or anything abnormal could add context to what occurred. There have been numerous requests about the dog found at the residence on the morning of November 13th. Arriving officers entered the residence and found the deceased victims. During the search of the home, a dog was found in a room where the crimes had not been committed. Officers did not find any evidence on the dog, and there was no indication the animal had entered the crime scene. The dog was taken to animal services and released to a responsible person. While the dog was in the house when officers arrived, it has not been determined where the dog was physically located when the murders took place. And then this is the usual, using tips and leads. Well, no, this is more. Using tips and leads, investigators have identified an incident involving Kaylee at a local business, which may have been the stalker reference she made to friends and family. In mid-October, 2 males were seen inside the local business. They parted ways, and one male appeared to follow Kaylee inside the business. And as she exited to walk toward her car, the male turned away, and it did not appear he made any contact with her. Detectives contacted both males and learned the two were attempting to meet women at the business. This was corroborated through additional investigation. Based on available information, detectives believe this was an isolated incident and not an ongoing pattern of stalking. No evidence suggests the 2 males were involved in the murders. Investigators continue to look into information about Kaylee having a stalker. Information about a potential stalker or unusual occurrences should go through the tip line. At this time, no suspect has been identified, and only vetted information that does not hinder the investigation will be released to the public. There is speculation without factual backing, stoking community fears, and spreading false information. We encourage referencing official releases for accurate information and updated progress. And official releases being this an example of. Tips: detectives are looking for context to the events and people involved in these murders to assist with the ongoing investigation. Any odd or out of the ordinary events that took place should be reported. Not your theories, but any odd or out of the ordinary events that took place should be reported. Our focus is the investigation, not the activities. Your information, whether you believe it is significant or not, might be the piece of the puzzle that helps investigators solve these murders. Information can be submitted to the tip line at 208-883-7180. That's 208-883-7180. Email the tip line at ci.moscow.id.us. And the digital media being the fbi.gov/Moscow, Idaho. All one word, Moscow, Idaho. So there you have it. Basically just confirming everything that I was going over. They're not sharing information with the family, okay? And that the reason for that is not because they are impeding on their rights and violating their rights to know. It's because it's an open investigation. And the fact is I'm glad that they're not doing that, because this family, particularly Kaylee's family, has been very, very public, okay? And I understand that they're frustrated. I get that. I'm not trying to disrespect them in any way, shape, or form. What I'm saying is it just makes sense that they would keep things quiet because they don't want certain information that's going to interfere with their investigation to be released to the public. Simple.
To know which creators I align with and which creators I do not. And with that said, somebody was saying, oh, this person said this days ago. There's no way anybody could say this days ago. Nobody knew that the assailant's DNA was in that home. Nobody. We just all found out when Nancy Grace broke that tidbit of information. It's not in any press release from law enforcement. It's not on any other channel, except unless it's an assumption prior to Nancy Grace. Let's be honest, right? So this is kind of bombshell information that we are learning, that the assailant's DNA was left at the home, and we can't be any more happy. However, with that being said, it's still rough for the family going through this because, again, they're finding out this information through the news and how horrible that must be. So I know I have a lot
Sorry,
of
I had to
people that
step
are,
away
you
for
know,
a second,
tuning
but
in.
let me address what she just said here. So here she is talking about this is bombshell information and nobody had this information prior to Nancy Grace releasing that information. But we just read an official statement from law enforcement saying that it didn't say anything about the DNA, right? Probably because it would interfere with their investigation in some way, shape, or form. But we saw them say something specific. Do not take anything that you hear on social media or anywhere else unless it is in an official release from law enforcement. So this DNA thing means absolute dick to me. It means nothing. I don't care if it came from Nancy Grace or came from Donald Trump. I don't care. It doesn't matter where that information came from if it doesn't come from law enforcement. That's not official information. So, no. I mean, her sitting here and acting like, look at that face, bro. Her sitting here and acting like that's some sort of credible information because it came from Nancy fucking Grace means nothing. It's ridiculous.
In silently from the University of Idaho. You know, they're following me. They're following Chronicles of Olivia.
No, they're
trying
not.
to get some information about what's going on. This
No,
is
they're
what I
not.
can say to you kids. Okay. I know you guys are young adults, but I want to call you kids because, you know, Mama Bullhorn needs to talk to you.
Oh my God.
And
Yeah.
I'm not my mama. All right. But
Yeah, listen, this me, the asshole with 42 charges and never went to college, but likes to say that I have that I been in professions and currently am in a profession that requires a college education to have any credibility at all whatsoever. I'm going to talk down to you guys now since you're in college and making lives of yourself and you already know infinitely more than I do about shit. I'm going to talk down to you now and tell you because Mama Bullhorn needs to speak.
But you guys need to start talking. If you don't
No,
want to talk to
they
media,
don't.
you don't.
They already are talking to law enforcement and cooperating with law enforcement, you idiot. Was that justice? In my opinion, Nancy Grace, original tragedy pimp. I'm not going to disagree with you. Like, I mean, I'm not going to disagree with you.
You don't want to talk to social media. At least talk to the family. Reach out to the family and start telling them what you know. And I'm sorry.
No, you should not do that. No, you should absolutely not do that. You should talk to only law enforcement. You should talk to only those that are trained and charged with the responsibility of solving this crime. That's it. You should not talk to anybody. You should not reach out to this family and bother them. I don't care if you're a YouTuber, and I don't care if you're just some kid that goes to that college. You should leave that family the fuck alone. All four of those families, leave them the fuck alone. You should not be reaching out to them and talking to them. That is completely and totally irresponsible. If you have information, you need to take it to law enforcement. Period. Just because you attend this college does not make you exempt from being restricted to that tip line or the other means online to give law enforcement information that you may have. If you know anything about this case, direct it directly to law enforcement and nobody else. And law enforcement will determine whether or not it is going to be helpful to their investigation, and they will determine whether or not that sharing that information with the family is going to hinder or help their investigation. Because law enforcement are the only people out there right now that are qualified to get closure and justice for these families. That's it. Nobody else.
I'm sorry. I do believe that the integrity of the investigation needs to stay intact, but you are not under a gag order, and this family needs answers. Their children were slaughtered.
Fucking idiot.
In their sleep. Okay? This is not a joke. Hear me when I say this. This is not a joke. There are 4 families that are suffering from a monster, a boogeyman, as Kaylee's mom would like to describe this person. Again, looking at that that kid in the white hoodie, law enforcement has cleared him. They're like, how do law enforcement clear? That's not our job to ask law enforcement how they cleared them. There is
I love this because here she is talking about the family and how you need to go to the family with information. But the family we just listened to, of course, she missed this, basically implied that they cleared him too quick. So, which is it, Betty?
There is a number of ways to clear somebody, a number of ways just like that. You can have a receipt that you can produce. You can have pings on your cell phone. You can prove that you were at home. You have roommates, alibis, things that check out that could clear you. So these are the things that law enforcement went through. So if you are still looking into the people, now I realize that, some people are implying that, the family is a little concerned about people being cleared too soon. But again, they're going off the same information we're going off of. And I have to think that this is a person that is not in this that is in their circle. Just not
that's
their
what I'm
immediate
thinking
circle.
was that, Justice.
This
I
is
truly
somebody
believe
that's
that.
watched them from afar. This is somebody.
I actually truly believe that. That's what makes the most sense to me is that they're keeping more information from the family because of them being so public. I personally wish that the family would not be as public as they are. Now they have the right to, and I don't blame them for being, frustrated, and I don't blame them for being, in how they grieve. But I personally, I just kind of wish that they wouldn't be so public, if not just for the sake of the investigation, but for the sake of the other families that are keeping quiet. And the other 3 families, they're not the only family that lost somebody. 3 other families lost somebody. I think that they should be a little bit more considerate towards them in their actions. And I realize a lot of people are going to disagree with me on that, but I stand by it.
Somebody, in my opinion, that has fantasized about doing this for some time. I don't know what the triggering effect was.
Really? Is that what you figured, Professor?
People just don't go from, going to school to their social studies class or law class and walk out with a freaking, K-bar knife and decides to go, kill 4 people. Like, that's just not normal. So this is something that somebody has been thinking about. Whether they've acted on it, we don't know how long.
And thinking about it is normal? Sitting there and planning that shit is normal? Really?
They've been thinking about it. Did they actually make plans, or was it just a thought in their head? We got to think about that. And then not only that, but I've said it, and I think Olivia dropped it on her TikTok, me talking about this case, and also stating that, I wonder how many times this person has gone to that home to actually commit this crime, this specific crime, and didn't go through with it. I would have to think that has happened at least one time.
Why? And what fucking difference would that make? What matters is that they fucking did it. You know what I mean? Like, you think law enforcement is going to be asking that in an interrogation? You think law enforcement's going to be like, once they catch the person and they interrogate the person, they're going to be going, have you ever gone over to the house and then just kind of decided not to go through with it? Did you do that? They're not going to do that because it's fucking irrelevant. It doesn't matter.
I could be wrong about that, but that's just how I feel. That's just
Here's how you feel.
The vibe I'm getting. When I saw that back parking lot, and saw how easy it was to sit there and watch that house through those windows, it makes me wonder how many times this creep sat in that parking lot watching these people in this home, unbeknownst to them. And while I don't want to say that, Instagram, TikTok, or anything had an effect of this, we don't know whether it did or did not. These girls were really big on Instagram. They had some very, normal. Okay. There's a lot of 20-something-year-olds. I mean, I talked to Olivia about this, me growing up, even with my lifestyle and everything prior to me getting my life together, I'm still somewhat of a.
You mean the lifestyle that you deny whenever you're confronted about it?
Prude. I really am. So, it does help to work with a millennial. Chronicles of Olivia is a millennial. And she does have a lot of respect with the millennials and, the work that she does.
No, she doesn't.
She has a way of talking. She talks their lingo. I remember,
She talks their
I
lingo.
older person's lingo. My lingo was the millennial lingo back in the day.
What?
Right. All of ours was, right? But I got a little off into a tangent, but it helps to
Get
work
out of
with the
town.
millennials. So I was asking her about these, I looked at some of the photos of these girls on these Instagram pages, and they were pretty risque. Some they showed a lot of skin. And God bless them. I mean, they're beautiful girls, and if you got it, flaunt it. I mean, that's what I used to say back in the day. But it makes you wonder in this day and age, it's not really. It can cause a lot more problems.
What the fuck are you talking about? So now we're shaming them for posting pictures of them that, they may have been wearing a tank top like you're fucking wearing and grossing us out with right now. Or we're shaming them for what? For taking pictures of being on vacation and being on the beach with swimsuits on. Are you fucking kidding me right now? Are you sitting there? Are you seriously sitting there basically shaming these women, these young women, for posting pictures? Like, stalking their IG is not normal, right? I have never once, I want to be clear about that. I have never once looked into any of their social media accounts. Not any of them. Not one of those victims have I looked into their social media account. I will tell you why. A, not interested. Not interested. B, because the only reason that would make any sense at all would be to try to find answers. I'm not qualified to investigate what happened to these girls. I'm not qualified to start looking at people and do a Zav girl and go, oh, well, who's this? I wonder who this is. Can we find out who that person is in the background there and then fuck with their life? That's not what I do here. I'm not interested in that. It does nothing. Jet Harper, thank you so much. So kind of new. What is this her business? This is what people talk about in private gossip. Who is listening to her in earnest? Please explain. Well, that's what we talk about here, Jet Harper. I point out creators like this and their bullshit and how it can interfere with an investigation that's open right now. But thank you. I appreciate it. I'm glad you're here.
Problems and be helpful. You guys see what I go through being on social media. I mean, it is not a pretty thing. You watch me get harassed. You watch me put myself in danger. You watch people almost try to hit me with cars. It's crazy.
Nobody tried to hit you with a fucking car, dude. The guy fucking called you a cunt, and then you spit on his truck and yelled at him. Like, that's it. And you guys had a screaming match because you're such a professional journalist. Instead of just being like, well, move along, or just walking over to the police officer and saying, this person is harassing me and I'm just trying to create content. That's what a professional journalist would have done at worst, if not just ignored them. But no, you got into a screaming match with this idiot, and really showed yourself as a as a professional journalist.
Crazy things like that. You watch people stalk me, literally stalk me, drive by my home and take photos of my home.
Who's done
while
that?
I'm in it. You know what I'm saying? Like
who's watched that happen? Please explain. Where's the footage of that? Did you capture footage of someone driving by your home and taking pictures and whatnot? That has not happened. You are completely and totally and utterly full of shit. Nobody has done that. What do you mean we've seen that happen? We've never seen that happen. What the fuck are you talking about? Nobody gives a fuck about you as far as that goes. Nobody cares. No, she didn't spit on him. She spit on his truck.
It is a creepy world out there, and law enforcement has got to start doing better with the social media stuff. They have got to start
should they? Should law enforcement interfere and arrest you for fucking cussing and yelling at minors, saying that a baby killer lives in their neighborhood? Should law enforcement do more, Betty? I agree. They should. Absolutely. Jed Harper, thank you. Then stop. What you do is useless anyway. I don't know if you're talking to me or them, but thanks for the super chat.
Start doing better. Now, do I know whether this had anything to do with it? I do not. But it is one element of another layer that could explain some of this. I don't know. I really don't. I'm just saying that this guy is not a boyfriend. I mean, the minute you get there, you feel evil. You feel it. I looked at those boys. I've listened to those boys. I've listened to Jake.
Billy, we've actually, like, I used to review that guy, and Toast used to review him too. And then we both just kind of stopped. I can't speak for Toast as to why she stopped, but I know me, I was just like, like he has like the brains of a caveman. Like I can't, and he looks like one. I just couldn't, I felt like I was debating with oh God.
I've listened to both parents and I trust them. When when you have a child that is killed in this fashion, you question everything. You have a skeptical lens on your face for everyone. So the people that they know and trust, like Jack and Jake, now Jake has not been publicly cleared, guys. Jake has not been publicly cleared by law enforcement. He has not. I have not read any reports where Jake, Maddie's boyfriend, has been publicly cleared through law enforcement, like Jack was, like the white hoodie guy was, like the other roommates that survived. He has not been cleared, but I have to be publicly cleared. Now, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but I have to think that he is cleared.
What?
I watch on YouTube.
Now, I agree. We have to assume that this dude is not a suspect until he's named a suspect. But if law enforcement had cleared him, they would have publicly done so. Okay? They would have absolutely publicly done. Did she say 6 foot knife? She didn't say 6 foot knife. I have to go back. Did she say 6 foot knife?
Happened. Jake, Maddie's boyfriend, by one killed. And listen, the minute you get there, you feel it. I do not. Got out there, and law enforcement has like watch people drive, stalk me. Literally.
Okay, yeah, I don't know where that was, but
he has not. I have not read any reports of roommates that survived. He has not been cleared, but I have to be publicly cleared. Now, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but I have to think that
if he was cleared by law enforcement, then they would publicly clear him.
Hi, Cool Gamer, Shelly Babe, Ashley, it's nice to see you. Be Betty fan. Thank you, Love Bug.
Now, I'm going to go ahead and just wrap that up real quick. One more thing about the case that I'm going to go over real quick. One more thing about that case is it has been determined apparently that it was Maddie's bedroom that Maddie and Kaylee were sleeping in. They were in the same bed. It was also determined that, that Kaylee was in the midst of moving out. So it's possible that the reason why she was not sleeping in her room was because it was probably in disarray, and she was in the middle of moving and packing and getting everything done, and it probably just wasn't in a place. It wasn't sleep ready anymore. So it just made sense to sleep with her friend that she grew up with. But apparently Kaylee got it a lot worse than Maddie. But the thing is we're talking about that it was targeted, blah, blah, blah. Jet Harvard. She can still vote. She's never been convicted of a felony. Not yet. She hasn't been convicted of a felony. Yes, she's a big Trumper. But yeah, unfortunately she can still vote. But now it turns out that this is the thing is it was Maddie's bedroom. Now, if they're asleep, it would make sense that it was dark. Now, they're both blonde hair. They're both about the same height, but they're laying down. So there's no way to really tell. It's possible. There's no way to tell who was targeted. Could be that Maddie was targeted and Kaylee got the worst of it because the killer mistook Maddie for Kaylee. We don't have anything to indicate who was actually targeted. It would make sense that Maddie was the one targeted since they went into Maddie's bedroom if they know the layout of the home. Okay. But again, we don't know because the fact that Kaylee supposedly got it significantly worse than Maddie did, then it could be that Kaylee was the one that was targeted and the person could actually tell the difference between the two of them in bed. Who knows? But that's not up for us to figure out. That's not up for us to decide. And as far as this Jake person is concerned, Maddie's boyfriend or ex-boyfriend, I don't really know what the status is on that. Until he's named a suspect, I'm not about to start looking at him like he's a suspect. Don't have any reason to. Haven't heard anything about him being bitter or them having problems or anything of that nature. It's none of my business. It's none of your business. And as far as I'm concerned, until law enforcement makes this dude a suspect and names him publicly a suspect, I'm going to assume that he is very much missing Maddie as much as anybody else is, and loves her very much. And so I'm not about to start speculating and going, what about this Jake guy? I'm not going to do that. That would be completely and totally irresponsible. But LE has said, thank you, Mike M. LE has said that they don't have any suspects yet. So it could be that they're still looking at him. It could be that he's a person of interest, but not a suspect. There is a difference between a person of interest and a suspect. A person of interest is somebody that they're like, they got eyebrows raised and they're like, what about this guy? Let's look into him more. And they could be in the process of looking into him. But being a suspect means we think he did it. And at this point, we're collecting evidence. Shar English Rose, thank you so much. I appreciate that. So yeah, as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to be looking at this Jake person as anybody else, any other one of these loved ones that that is missing Maddie as much as her family is, and loves her very much. I'm just going to assume that because that would be the safe thing to assume, and that would be the empathetic and proper thing to assume before assuming anything else. But guys, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you for hanging out with me for 3 hours. I had a blast. I love hanging out with you guys. I appreciate all of the support, all of the super chats. I appreciate everybody liking this video And I appreciate everybody who's new to the channel and subscribing. If you haven't yet, please subscribe and please like this video. I love you very much. And we will do this again very soon, my friends.